just put it in a different way, you know.
Well, if Liberty comes on, just ignore him
I mean, I
in
don't.
perpetuity.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but like I don't. He pisses me off, but I feel pity rather more than anger. Like you know what I mean? And I'm just like, dude, you live in the richest nation in the world. Like why? Cairo will be on his best behavior. No, you be on whatever behavior suits you, brother.
Do you want to share the
Um,
chat so that I don't
yeah,
miss out on Cairo's fun comments? Because that
yes.
would be sad.
Calling you Jamaican.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wonder what I'll be today.
Special episode, indeed, a very special episode.
It's
And we are gonna have Joseph on around in 5 to 6 minutes. He'll be on, so we'll have some questions set up for him. Belarusian?
Belarusian.
Oh, you that's Russian.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
Russian. That's not. That's don't act like that's a different country. That's Russia.
Oh, look
So,
at her on the train. I don't know why she's got to just rub it in like that.
all right,
Good for
train.
you.
We're gonna
I
talk
hope
about
you're having
trains.
fun on the train.
Oh, another thing that I want to copy that I really liked when I watched Shurkat's interview with Hassan, he did this thing called the Zoran method.
hmm
Um, List your 5 policies.
That's a good one.
That's a good one,
I
right? Like
yeah
list your
yeah
five
I
policies
did
that
like that.
people can like bang out.
Right. Do we want to end with that?
No, we start with that.
Oh, you want to start with that, like
Yeah. We
out
start
the
out
gate?
right off rip. Yeah, out the gate. We kind of did that with Andrew. Like, hey, do you want to introduce yourself and introduce your policies? But I want to be like, hey, like, talk a little bit about you yourself personally. Maybe
hmm
that's how we start off with, and then we go like, okay, give us your
He has
five
a
policies.
criminal justice degree. I thought that was
That's
interesting.
cool. Very interesting. Yeah. Maybe I do want to know him personally because I think that's important. Like, has to understand some of his perspective. Like, if he's a veteran, what's his work experience like, what kind of
Mhm.
expertise he brings in. You know, so
Sure.
I think that's it's a little bit interesting. Um, Yeah, so he'll be on soon. I know you. Please, if you have any questions, ask away. We might not. I don't want to like cut him off and then ask you guys' question, but I do want to ask your guys' questions too. So maybe if I remember, we'll go back and chat and then try to pull some out. If you find somebody like, oh, well, what about this? Like, uh, I'm gonna try this time around to give a little bit more pushback as well. We're not gonna try to be like got you there, you got the wrong answer, right? Like, of course,
I was ready to
there,
fight.
there are wrong answers, but sometimes they're not really like wrong answers. So, but if you have any pushback, like, okay, well, that doesn't sound right, and then you have something to say, definitely say it, and then we can definitely do more readily than just to like give them some questions. But yeah, uh, so if you have that, that'll be good. I would really like that. But we'll have him in here soon. Spicy pasta is still pasta, I guess. Yeah, spicy pasta all the way, but why would you want like regular pasta? Put some spice in it. Come on. Wow, like just
Arrabbiata.
like it's just tomatoes. That's not flavor. That's just tomatoes. That's fruit. You gotta throw a little bit
Fruit
of pepper in
puree.
there. A little bit of
Sure.
cayenne, a little bit of what's the other one? Paprika. What is the difference between paprika and cayenne?
Paprika is made from red pepper.
Oh, is it? Okay, and cayenne can just be any pepper
That thing is made from
or
cayenne
cayenne
peppers.
pepper? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
True Indians have high expectations with flavor. That bro, yes, absolutely. I gotta have spices in my food. I can't do bland food. Like, like I just can't. It don't taste good. I don't feel full. I will never make you satisfied. What? Why are you trying to satisfy me, bro? Oh, this is,
Cairo, are you calling yourself bland? That's
don't
not true.
satisfy me. That's that's a
I think
true
you're
light
very
skin behavior.
spicy, Cairo.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Pause. He's not spicy at all.
No?
All right, all right, all right. Do you see him yet or no? Or he's gonna come on the dot, punctuality.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll.
probably like
Maybe,
7:10.
maybe what does
Lame.
that say about him? Yeah. So we're gonna have him on. We'll see how long he plans to stick around. Usually these things go long, and
People just can't get
uh,
enough of us. They come
they love it.
expecting an hour and then
We give him
they
two.
stay
We
all
give him
night.
three. We give him three.
Almost 4 with
The
DSA.
DSA guys. Yeah. Was it four? No.
No, it was over 3. It was like 3.5.
Really?
At
I
least
didn't realize that.
320.
I didn't realize that. And they were only going to be here. Like, we were talking, thinking we're going to stay here for like an hour, 30 minutes. We're going to call it. No, brother. Once you're at all the factors, we go through every single factor. I like that.
That's it.
I
We're
like
not
that.
just some of the factors.
Not some of the
Yeah.
factors. It's all the factors. Almost
All of
got
them.
NYC cost out of living. Yeah, the Fairfield. Yeah, Fairfield is pretty expensive. So that's another thing we can tackle. How does he plan on tackling the housing market um, uh, crisis, as well as just the cost of living expenses? I didn't really tailor my questions to it, but if Cairo, if you have anything, we will certainly ask him that. That's definitely something we'll ask about. All right, 7:09. The boy's gonna be punctual. You got to be an old man to live in Fairfield, I guess.
What cities are we looking at?
Fairfield County is big. I think part of New Haven County, which is something he can talk
So
about as well.
part of Bridgeport.
Yep.
So
Oh, another thing that I want to talk about Bridgeport is Flock AI. Like, definitely got to talk about Flock.
is that a company moving in there?
They just there was a lot of pushback from it. They wanted to have drones just flying around Bridgeport. So that was a little dystopian. Very, very certain ally of ours. So the council from the pushback kind of ended. Didn't go to the contract. All right, all right.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
Late. It's late. I'm kidding.
7-Eleven. We don't like that.
No, just kidding.
We don't like it. We don't like it.
How dare. So it looks like we got New Canaan, Stanford, Darien,
New Canaan's big.
Fairfield, Bridgeport.
New Canaan, where is our boy Henry Kissinger used to live.
Lovely.
That's where he passed away. The devil of South America.
Good for you for remembering where evil people die. Oh, there he is. All right, ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Welcome, Joe. How are you?
Hey,
Good,
Joe.
how
What's
are
going
you?
on?
Good,
Hello,
good.
hello.
Thanks for joining us here on All the Factors. We appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yeah, thank you for
Yes,
having me.
absolutely. How was we don't have to talk about personal life. How was yesterday? I know you couldn't make it for personal reasons, but how did it go?
You know,
Nobody beside me and you know what we're talking about, by the way.
I was gonna
Everybody
say I
else
have
is
no idea what
oblivious.
you're talking about. Okay.
Well, I didn't want to tell his business, so
Okay. Except you're asking him about it.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. So much happens in a
okay.
given day that
Yeah.
I have about 7 things in mind that you might be talking about.
You were supposed to meet somebody for the first time yesterday, correct?
Oh, yes, that went very well.
Okay, good. All right, awesome.
Sorry, I was like, what?
Okay.
Well, because
What's
we
he
had
talking about? It's been a
we
while.
had some of the courage candidate primaries this week.
Okay.
Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer came out. We could have been talking
All
about
right.
anything.
Okay. Courage candidate. Where? Not in Connecticut, right?
No, so Citizens Impeachment is one of the organizations that has endorsed me, and they have the Courage for Democracy PAC, and a couple of the other candidates who've been endorsed with me. We've all become like an incubator, and we talk policy and support each other. So we had North Carolina and
Okay.
oh my God, I'm blanking now. It's been a busy week. I have midterms coming up, but we had North Carolina and a couple other primaries, and Ashley Bell won to become the Democratic nominee,
Nice.
which I'm very happy about.
Nice.
Because there were a lot of people in her field who maybe should not have been in her field in the first place. She was definitely more qualified in the competition. So
no, that's good. That's so.
Awesome. It's definitely nice to see a progressive candidate in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nita Lim isn't a Courage candidate, right? She wasn't part of your group.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
It's hard to actually memorize them all because we're
Yeah.
growing. So like a month ago there were 70 of us, and now we're pushing 100. So it's kind of a moving target.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha. No, we have somebody watching that's from North Carolina, so that's kind of nice. Anyways, welcome to all the factors. So thank you for coming, and we have some questions lined up for you. But before we get there, why don't we just talk about you yourself? What's your background? What kind of expertise do you have? Just so we get a little bit of idea of what you are made of and what you're going to bring to Connecticut District 4.
Sure, thank you. So the first thing to talk about is that Connecticut doesn't think of itself in congressional districts outside of voting time. So when you're from here, you're just from here. So everybody in Connecticut knows friends and family in multiple districts. I grew up in multiple districts. I was born in District 4, Stamford, Connecticut. Lived here with my mother until I was around 6-ish, 5-ish. I'm not sure which because I was that age. And then we moved to Naugatuck, Connecticut, which would be a different district. And I lived there for about 15 years. And then I moved to New York for like 4 years, and I'm back here. So I've lived all around Connecticut. And the one thing that's been very common in all the different places that I've lived is the open and blatant economic segregation that exists out here. I mean, I saw a little bit of the pre-show, and I wrote in the chat, but I hate Henry Kissinger. We have types like that living here, and they'll drive right by us, right?
Yeah.
So I went to school, University of Bridgeport. Love that town, good town. And each area of Connecticut has a very specific identity down to the town. It's a very beautiful, intimate thing. But they go mostly ignored. Connecticut is wedged in between Boston and New York.
Yeah.
We've been here the whole time.
Yeah.
We've been helping at every pivotal thing. But unless it's, and I'll take a shot at both political parties here, unless it's a fundraiser or a presidential piggy bank, people don't really come to us. And there are a lot of working class here that work their tails off just to survive. Yeah. And even the self-made ones who are a little higher on the socioeconomic status, doctors, lawyers, dentists, they could get more bang for their buck elsewhere, right? Like they're one bad wind away from the tree being blown over. So it's a hard place to live. It's a good place to live. I'm 33 years old now, so I've been around a bunch. Been an actor, been a gardener. I'm a dental assistant. I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years. And I think what I bring to this district is the reality that I've lived in it. The reality that I know what it's like to have the millennial promise and be from the Obama era of hope and see what neoliberalism has brought, see what conservatism has brought, see the rise of fascism years ahead because you listen to people other than yourself, see it materialize in slow motion, not be able to stop it. just trying to stay alive. I currently don't have health insurance. I'm currently going to law school at night. We never stop, right? That's what we do. So the thing I bring to this district is the real understanding of what it's like on the ground. Right now, I will live and work and die by the policies that are presented to me. I'm not above it.
Yeah.
And I think Washington insulation tends to strip people from the ability to really understand that $20 copay, what that means. Now that means that mother of four just isn't going. Maybe her kids will. Maybe.
Yeah.
So knowing on the ground what that means to different parts of our community all over. The average Joe, cheesy as it is, my friends keep I don't want to use it, but my friends
There you
keep
go.
telling
No,
me,
you gotta use it. You gotta use whatever you got.
but that's
Yeah,
what it
right.
is. Like I'm that. And I want to raise our story, elevate our story, because we're not nothing and we're not nowhere. And I think because of elitism in the area, we're often led to believe that.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. So when I immigrated here, I was little. I didn't live anywhere except for Connecticut. And it took me a long time. Actually, I came here when I was 14, and now I'm 33 now too. And I
Nice.
would say just the last couple of years, maybe COVID made me realize it, or I don't know. But like one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? I love Connecticut.
Yeah.
I do. I love everything about being here. You know what I mean? And that's what my thinking is, like, that I want to make it better for not
Yeah.
just me, but for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. That speaks to me. And somebody said you are cooking. You are certainly have cooked in the last 10 minutes you've been here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, Connecticut, I absolutely agree with what you said about how Connecticut is a shining example of like income inequality.
Mhm.
I worked as a social worker when I still lived in Connecticut, and
Okay.
I dealt with homelessness,
Yeah.
lack of health care, all of that on a huge scale. And meanwhile, being told like, oh, nothing bad happens in the richest country in the world, like, that
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
thing. It's like, no, Connecticut has just as many problems. We just
Yep.
have a couple of very wealthy cities that are insulated,
Yeah.
because just
I mean,
like anywhere else.
we're that place it'll never happen here.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, let me tell you something. I was the gardener. I was the security guard. I've heard what people say.
Yeah.
I look a certain way. People say things around me thinking I'm one of them. And it's like,
Yeah.
now I know what you think of us, right?
Yeah.
Now I know what
Yeah.
you think of Boricuas and of people of color. Like now I know.
Yeah.
Right. And when these things happen, I've seen, because of the gardening, this isn't happening on your street and you can't hear us because you're literally cordoned off by the woods that weren't cut or by the hedges that were put up. And I've watched people spend 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times more on status symbols than it would take to end homelessness in their whole city. I mean, it's here. And this area is the poster child of the it'll never happen here, but it's happening here. ICE has taken people right off of buses on their way to work here.
Yep.
And I love Connecticut. I do. And I think that's a thing Connecticut loves to make fun of itself for admitting sometimes. Right? I mean, I think the biggest difference having lived in Queens and living in Connecticut between New York and Connecticut is that Connecticut doesn't tell you where to go. Right? In New York, you walk around, everything tells you where the good time is. The social services tell you where they are. The libraries have everything out there. In Connecticut, you have to gem hunt. Right?
Yeah.
Like when you're from Connecticut, you know the difference between having fun at Six Flags and having the best fun of your life in the parking lot after for free. Just laughing, joking, making your own good time.
Yeah.
We self-generate a culture here.
Yes.
We really do.
I used to work at Six Flags. You're really just
Did
you're
you
getting
really?
us, and I did. Yeah,
New
you're
England,
getting both of us
Boston,
in like
not Boston,
in
Essex area?
Agawam. If you know
Agawam.
if you're actually from the area, it's not actually in Springfield, right? It's in
Yeah.
Agawam.
Yeah.
So,
No,
you're getting us in the Connecticut heartstrings here.
Oh man.
Right. No, I 100% agree. And I have friends in in California, you know what I mean? He's in Anaheim, and then he always jokes about like, well, nothing bad happens in Connecticut. But I'm like, dude, like one of the worst cities in the country, Hartford, Connecticut, is here. Like it's here.
Hartford,
New Haven, right?
yeah,
Like like what the highest, one of the highest crime rates is here. One of the most income inequalities state is Connecticut.
yeah.
So we'll get into all of that for sure. And that was a killer introduction. So
Thank you.
over here, yeah, no problem at all. So on all the factors, we separate things in a little bit. My interest lies mainly in geopolitical issues, and that will usually tackle all the domestic front. Here, that's where our interest lies. So we'll go back and forth with some of the questions. We have some questions tailored for you, but I'm gonna steal something from Hassan Piker, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Heard the
Uh,
name.
yeah, and he calls this the Zoran method. So we'll start there, right? So you told us a little bit about yourself. Can you give us 5 of your policies that you can let people know that they can relate directly to you?
Absolutely. There's the local and there's the federal, right? Because Zoran had the privilege of running for a local office, a high level executive office, but a state government office. I'm running for Congress. So I haven't found out the perfect way to outline that. So we're going to continue working on that. On the local level, flat out, many of my tendencies are closer to Zoran than not. We rank pretty much consistently second for most income inequality in congressional districts. I think one year we went down to 3 or 4 and then back up, but I'll have to see which one we are now. And I've seen it. I believe homelessness is a policy failure. I believe healthcare is a universal right. And on a local level, Connecticut gives more. We're a giving state. We give more taxes to the federal government than we get back. On a local level, our politics are entrenched, which means we've ironically become a MAGA haven, but they've been insulated away from ballot access. So my policies are for the access to that liberty. I want to get more people to vote from multiple different parties. I want to get the independents back and passionate, right? But I also want to bring our education back. We have a lot of private schools here. A lot of our public schools go underfunded. I was talking to someone from Bridgeport that said that I think there was like a $13 million deficit for one of the schools just in the budget,
Wow.
right? There's way too much health here for way too much wealth here for a school to just not have the money, a public school. So my policies on the local level are going to be about access to healthcare, access to actual ballot access, increasing the ability to have agency and accountability in your government, and working with local governments on that end, and also taking some of that tax that we give and saying, hey, we want a little more social support here. We want housing that is affordable. I can't afford to live here, right? Like if I win this, I can actually afford to live here, but I can't afford to live here on my salary. Like I work multiple jobs, right? And law school can be a factor in that, but everyone I know here struggles. So my local side is focused on that. When you're driving down this crowded Merritt Parkway and 95 and you wish they focused on infrastructure 40 years ago, what can I work on now to help ease that infrastructure? How can I get you to work faster? How can your workspace become safer? How can I make sure you have a little more money in your pocket? Outside of New York City, and maybe California, we're taxed the most. And we don't get the same amount of social services back as some of the other states. That's a local level. A lot of that comes with empowering the states through legislation. A lot of that comes down to state legislators and working with them, state mayors and working with them. On the federal level, I do believe in abolishing ICE. I think most of them, not all, but most of them are guilty of treason, have some treasonous act. Many of them have committed a litany of constitutional rights and crimes against humanity rights violations, and I believe in fact-finding trials at the least. In Congress, you can issue subpoenas, you can go to the correct committees, you could actually do something. Our Congress doesn't like to let us believe they can do anything. They always throw their hands in the air and say why they can't, but they can't. Yes. I believe in the impeachment of anyone, Republican or Democrat, but right now it's the MAGA infection, the cult that has spat on the I mean, my brain just starts going nuts. It's like the Matrix. You start reading like the file of everything they're doing, and it's designed to do that, right? It's designed to exhaust you. I would go after the entire Epstein class. I would deal with the data breaches and Palantir and put some actual AI guidelines, and I would work with other progressives who are willing to do it. The Courage Candidate Bloc has been talking about that a lot, but there's a stable progressive bloc as well, and I'd like to help them as well. So the cavalry's coming, right? The next generation is here. But that would be how I'd define it. There's an overwhelming amount of federal, national issues and an overwhelming amount of local issues, and a lot of them are sort of interwoven. The Iran war needs to be ended. Yep. It's going to make working families here suffer. I guarantee you someone will starve to death in Connecticut. Someone, if this was started earlier even, it may still happen, but if it started earlier this winter, we would have had people freezing to death because they couldn't afford oil.
Yep.
So, policies kill. And I would want to address that because I've seen it.
Yeah, yesterday we spent, I think, well over 2 hours discussing pretty much the conception of the war and where the likelihood that it's going, right? And what we were talking about was the step of escalation that Trump will likely go, or where Iran will go. I know today we're already jumping into it, but today we've had multiple announcements. The Patriot system was targeted and hit. So because of that, we've already used so much of our defensive ammunition, and Trump announced just like, I think an hour ago, maybe less than that, where he was talking with Raytheon just down the street from me, Grumman, Boeing, and Harris, and all these companies, all these manufacturing companies, where he wants to triple the production level of all these ammunitions. And this is where the joke is. And, if you just read it on face value, you go like, oh, yeah, that's great. That's economic, creation that is happening. But at the end, he ends with so many counties and states are reaching out to us and jumping at the bits to, build the plants in their state. And Connecticut being Connecticut, we have one of the largest, defense manufacturers here. Yeah. And the first thought that comes across my head is, it's going to take a minimum of like 10 years to build this plant. You expect this war to last 10 years? So this is just like a nothing. You made this giant announcement for nothing. You think you think oil's already above 90, from what, last week, where it was like barely under 70. So this is ridiculous,
And last week I only filled up my gas tank to half because I couldn't afford to fill it up to full.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the metric.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I mean, it has already gone up.
What happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying the gas prices have already gone up too.
Yeah. And this speaks to the delusion, right? I'm going to speak outside of my pay grade as someone who's not a defense contractor, right? Mm-hmm. Historically, Connecticut has been a massive part of any war effort in this country. We have that warrior ethos. You don't think about it from Connecticut, but it's come from us, manufacturing. A lot of war dems, right? Like corporate neoliberal, like rah-rah war dems, and a lot of, war Republicans have argued that war is good for the economy. And we can't deny that, hegemonic power and imperialism as a part of our foreign policy has been a massive way in which our empire has buttressed itself up. It's not right, and I would love to fix that, but that is the crime that we are guilty of again and again and again and again. This is not that standard, American terrorizing the world crime, right? Like, we've done absolutely horrific things throughout the annals of history for resources. This is not that, right? We've already had reports that we're going to run out of our missiles, period. Like this, we can't actually defend for prolonged periods of time. We already know that any ground troops in Pakistan, Iran, there's so many armed conflicts that we've had in
Yes.
25 years.
Yeah, there's one happening in Pakistan right now as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep your head straight. But any armed boots on the ground situation in Iran leads our soldiers through mountainous terrain that people who are grew up in. So it's the home field advantage. Sun Tzu would say, anytime you take your soldiers from the home front away, you have to spend 3 times as much because you lose supply chain. Guess what we're talking about? Supply chain, oil, Strait of Hormuz, right?
Yes.
Prices are going to go up. Missiles are going to run out. Our standard method is to terrorize from a safe place.
Yeah.
This is not a situation where we're going to terrorize from a safe place. And also, economics and ecology are always mirrored. One does not move without the other. When COVID happened and the whole world shut down, we saw beneficial, positive ecological impact. And when the genocide in Gaza completely skyrocketed and advanced in its metrics after October 7th, and they really went into the end game of what they wanted to do there, we've also seen an ecological impact, right? So, and I don't mean to not talk about those things, but I can ramble and yap. So I want to bring it right back to my point, and then you can, right, we can go for it. Most of Connecticut has gone through gentrification. Most of my district lives on the coast. The many areas that were the ghettos or the projects, places I also frequented and grew up in, those are now luxury apartments built on the coast. While we're not only destroying our own economy here, threatening ourselves here, not only destroying other human lives out across the world for forever wars to benefit this illusory economic warfare that we think works, what's going to happen when the scale of this war continues to tip our climate change and suddenly Long Island isn't enough to save us from hurricanes?
Yeah.
We've been kind of privileged here. Long Island kind of takes a lot of the hits for us.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's going to happen when that doesn't work? Right? The insurance companies are going to be fine. Right? The homeowners, the corporate homeowners are going to get out of it and make money somehow.
Yeah.
It's going to be the people who just want to live and go to work and like raise their kids. The day is not far where like we're going to see kids drowning in Bridgeport or Norwalk because the water rose.
Yeah. Certainly.
So, these things all form a circle. And if we think it can't happen here, we have to remember it's already happening here. We're just not seeing it in a way we understand it yet.
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Well, let's maybe Nat, you have a question. We can move on into the questions here because I know I've been yapping. That's the theme here. I will yap a lot.
I will.
No, it's fine. It's sure. It's fine. Sure. So I noticed on your website that you highlighted rural America. You highlighted that it's your intent, should you be elected, to do what you can to work to support those communities. I did want to focus on rural healthcare. As we know, rural healthcare has been struggling for a while, but it's really being hit by this administration, particularly because of the Medicaid cuts from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, whatever we want to call it,
Yeah.
And then, the Trump administration has decided that to mitigate this, they offered the $50 billion rural healthcare fund. Do you think this is a sufficient solution to the issues that that rural communities face as far as healthcare? And if not, what would you propose instead?
I think that, and I'm not going to say anything he's done is a good thing, but I think that we can't be thankful for a good thing if you created the need in the first place. Right? I mean, we have all known about that political tool of people create a problem that they already have the solution for. Like they're waiting for it to come along so they can look like the savior. I think that the solution to rural healthcare systems is mathematical, and you can utilize multiple things, right? The census, you can utilize state data metrics to help ensure an equal distribution of funds. We need universal health care. That is not going to be like we've passed the act and it's perfect, right? Like I just talked to a friend who lives in Ireland. They've had universal health care for some time. And there's always going to be a pay option. I work in pay-to-play healthcare. If universal healthcare was enacted tomorrow, the dental office I'm working in is going to charge you. They're going to be the pay-to-play option, and that's okay. But the friend I spoke with in Ireland was talking about, like, hey, there are problems. There are ways it doesn't work. There are ways we're upset. We still need to fine-tune things. But then she said something that almost brought tears to my eyes. She said, Joe, if I get cancer today, I will be fast-tracked and I will have a case manager and a doctor who will manage me to the bitter end or the bitter remission by Friday. And she said it on like a Sunday. There are preventable deaths in America because of that. And, you know, I grew up in Naugatuck, Connecticut, right? Naugatuck, Rubber Avenue, brass coming from Waterbury. These areas, I've seen what rural areas go through because people don't give Connecticut that credit, but Connecticut is incredibly rural.
Absolutely.
And it's not all fancy castles. It's a lot of working class. I think in order to make sure rural healthcare doesn't suffer, we need to enact a universal healthcare and we need to get to work. Like I believe in legislation that comes with preordained and funded sociological research. I want to be able to say, okay, it's been a year and a half. How's the rollout? It's been 3 years. How's the rollout? Is this act not working? Do we need to repeal it, amend it? I think acts, literature, like law, just like any business or any academic dissertation or any scientific research, should be a living thing that is amended or destroyed. So I think the best way to help create the infrastructure of rural healthcare is to want to, because we ultimately have a government that loves to deregulate and then centralize.
Right.
You don't defund a ton of things rurally, then force people to travel great distances and then create it. You're consolidating them somewhere, because once they're consolidated, they're easier to manipulate, to destroy, to wiggle around in policy. So I think that's a huge part of it. We need
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, I was just going to sum up. We just need a universal healthcare that focuses on health. And we need to acknowledge that those who are making the policies now want people to be disenfranchised to a certain level.
Yeah.
It's not for health.
Yeah, what I was going to say is a lot of times where the big argument that we'll hear from either Canadian residents or UK residents that do have like big healthcare programs where they don't have to pay for anything is like, well, we have to wait like months in advance. And to me, it seems like an obvious solution when if you are waiting for months to see a doctor, it just means you need more doctors. It just means you need more hospitals, you know, in your area. Like, that it's a funding issue. It's not necessarily the program itself isn't working. It's just a funding thing. You just have to fund it. And we could certainly do the thing. If I don't see why each town doesn't get their own hospital. doesn't get their own
Right.
clinics.
When
I
the
don't
funding's
see
there.
like why that's not
Yeah.
exactly, you know, why it's the will problem, I think, right? Like the Connecticut or the our Congress or U.S. Congress or the executive branch, they just don't have that will, because
Yeah.
we obviously need to give that money to our Lord and Savior Raytheon, right? Like that's where the money needs to initially go. We need to
Darth
triple their
Raytheon.
value.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it has to. They're just talking about, you know, building another massive plant. Well, I was just literally joking with my wife before we got on. Um, to go back to the Iran war, they're building $50,000 drones while we're using, you know, interceptor missiles that cost anywhere from $500,000 to $10 million. And
Yep.
I've started to, and I gave her the perfect example to try to compare this. So last November, when we went to go vote, there was the ballot measure for Manchester was, well, we need $12 million allocation to. You know, redo our entire town's drainage, as well as build administrative buildings and to do improvements. So I'm like, so instead of you thinking, oh, it's missiles intercepting these drones, it's town, it's the
Yeah.
entire sewer system of Manchester intercepting,
Yeah.
because that's $10 million per
Yeah.
interceptor missile.
Yeah.
You know, you have to think about it that way. So instead of us starting these unnecessary wars that we do every 6 months now, it seems like, why don't we
Yeah.
just fund our hospitals, fund our infrastructure here?
Yeah.
It's
Flint,
the will.
Michigan,
our,
still don't have water.
Phil,
So,
exactly. Flint,
Yeah.
Michigan.
and it's not like our healthcare system is any cheaper. I mean, we still spend so
No.
much more money than
One of the most expensive ones.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I see. I mean, between insurance charging us
Yes.
and then insurance getting kickbacks from the government,
Mhm.
and
Right.
then the insurance telling doctors how they get to treat.
Exactly.
Right.
The only one
How
winning
many
is them.
how many videos have you seen of doctors making like call like, hey, this person's about to go into surgery. What do you mean you won't cover it? Like they need this life-saving surgery. How is a customer service rep telling a MD that studied the entire life
That
on
they
what
don't
is
need
necessary?
that.
Yeah, what is necessary and what is not? Like that's
Yeah.
a
Especially
insane concept to me, you know?
especially from an admin that's so obsessed with fraud, supposed fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Or
that's
Maha.
that's
Yeah.
the waste right there. I mean, I think Dr. Oz announced either today or yesterday that they're pausing like new authorizations, like new companies being able to like sell or have their durable medical equipment covered by Medicaid for 6 months, like a 6 months pause, for the sake of fraud, waste, and abuse. When things like that are happening, it's really just a slap in the face.
Well, that's what they say, right? They lock it down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I have to say to that. Like, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah. So I have a question in regards to that. Some economists and progressives are openly talking about nationalizing certain industries, whether it's energy industry, where you're seeing, I believe it's in Minnesota, where BlackRock is trying to buy a power plant. That I don't see any good coming out of that. Broadband, I think internet should be part of the conversation. It's obviously much lower on the priority list, but internet should be provided to when you were talking about like getting people to vote and giving them the freedom to vote. I think that's a concept that it kind of ties into that as well. Like giving people the right to information and correct information. Like that should be one of the most important things, because so much information, especially around just the last like 6 days, there's so much information around like where the missile strikes are happening and what is happening in regards to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like we need to be able to get access to correct information if we are to save this republic. So nationalizing that, healthcare, or even housing, is there an industry you think the government should outright own? And are you willing to say that out loud in a district where Greenwich hedge funds live? And again, I don't want to ask you like any gotcha questions. I just want to see like where you lie, you know?
No, that's very fair. I'm aware that I'm going to get outspent in this campaign, and the reality is if anyone ever shoots at me, it's going to be really hard to tell who. because there's a lot of people with a lot of money and a lot of agendas, and I'm not going to make them all happy. But I don't have a lot of sympathy for them, because if you have the capital, you can invest in the future. So if things are changing and you don't like the status quo changing, you can spend money to keep it the same. You can spend the money funding the future and then profit. So they're choosing to be evil if they choose to be, right? Ethics can be attached to the coin just as much. But when it comes to the government outright owning anything, I get a little suspect, right? Like I don't trust them, especially now, like seeing how easy it was. Heritage Foundation only had to work 40, 50 years. That's it, a lifetime, right? And they've been able to have court case arguments ready, legislation ready, and they've built this brick by brick. And the last 10 or so years has been go time, right? What they've done with Epstein, what they've done with Russia, what they've done with Israel, right? Like, this is a time where if the government is so easy, and it was already a cruel government, but if it's so easy to be brought to its knees, I can't fully trust the government. But that was always what I am. Like, I'm that punk dude, and now I'm running for office, and I feel really angry and confused.
Sure.
Well, you will be the government.
But that's the thing, and it's like, so I got to be like the Ron Swanson, but instead of like making people not work, I'm making people work for the right things.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
Like,
that's always, I mean, that's always a risk, right? Like, whatever you do when you're in power, or your party's in power, or whatever you call yourselves in power, those same rules are going to apply, when it changes over. So you have to, we do have to be careful about how much power we take
yes.
when we're in the government.
I would actually, I realize I didn't answer your question. Outside of like universal healthcare, I just like y'all, like, so I'm losing my focus, but outside of like universal healthcare, I actually would say, I've said for years, socialize the internet. Okay. I actually do think that outside, not owning the IP, not owning the companies, not owning the VPNs, not owning any of that, just fast, unrestricted storage and internet for all. Period. A lot of these government types, they fly to other countries. They know what universal healthcare is. They know what the search engines turn up in other countries rather than here. Yeah. They know what they're doing to us. They know it works. Yeah. So I would say that in order to have a free and liberated people that can choose for themselves, they need to be able to have more than 3 or 4 flavors of propaganda. I mean, now I can't even use the internet half the time to look up anything without getting a ton of slop, bad news. You can't find an archive to save your life unless you know which one you're looking for. You can't find a reference book. So I actually think socializing the internet as a power structure, giving you access, and then decentralizing the amount of companies that own the space. The frontier of the internet is in the late 1800s right now. It's not a forest. It's not what it was. So we need to understand that space is being owned by corporations, and that needs to kind of be fixed.
Yeah. I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, we already have a ton of examples of this in the first Trump 1.0 with the Cambridge Analytica, how Facebook was just constantly manipulating what we see, social media constantly manipulating what we see, TikTok, it's constantly being consolidated. See, my fear is if the government doesn't own it, then a billionaire is. Larry Ellison will own it, So, and I'm the same way. I do fear that, like, if you consolidate too much power into a centralized figure, then it's scary, no matter whoever the centralized figure is. But one of the best programs that the government ever invented, Social Security. It's the only program that makes money for us. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. The CFPB was one of the other ones that really, really made. For every dollar you gave them, they gave you $1.75 back. So that was another excellent program, which the Trump administration ended. Through court cases, as you said. That's my other thing, is that we've here on our channel have watched so many clips of this I'm not trying to do the China glaze, but there's this perfect partnership that happens sometimes where a Chinese, a government worker is allowing certainly the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical company, to make as much money as they want to, but they are placing guardrails around them that they don't just outright exploit them. The government official understands that he works for the people, right? I think
Yeah.
that's where we've lost this. So Connecticut is famous for this. Like, it's the internet service here is monopolized street by street. Like, in Manchester, I can have fiber, but I just go right across just 10 minutes into my parents' town in South Windsor, and I can't get that because
Yeah.
it's not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't even get like the same company there, which I don't think is fair. Like, why am I only restricted to being able to buy it from one company? I think that's where governments can really come in. So I guess when I say nationalize, I don't maybe mean like outright own it, but I think maybe place guardrails there where exploitation
Opportunity for
doesn't happen.
regulation.
Yeah, like there should be heavy regulation if that's needed to be, because that like, so I just graduated with my MBA, and
Congratulations.
thank you, I appreciate it. And in my securities law class, the same theme kind of applies over and over and over again. Is we have a crisis, then the regulation comes in, then we have a crisis, then the regulation comes in.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe we need to break out of that cycle a little bit.
Yes.
Maybe just do the regulations before the crisis comes.
Right.
Um,
I think that all too often lawmakers sit in their office and they're just putting out microfires, but they're putting them out according to theory and according to chess and according to the gamification of politics. They're not sitting around and going, okay, gross national happiness. Okay, localized well-being. Okay, how do I make people's lives better?
Didn't somebody recently say that that's not their job or something like that?
Yeah,
Like, somebody
yeah.
just said that like a month ago or something. Like, it's not our job to think about national happiness.
Yeah, I'm not the dude that like gets angry. That got me angry. I was like,
Yeah.
that's really dumb of you. And I would say
Yeah,
it to your
like, don't
face.
say that.
Like, that's dumb. So I
absolutely.
think a part of it is privatization, right? That's what's happened with Connecticut. They say that this public good cannot be efficient with a government.
Right.
They run it to the ground. They wait. Their friends they've been hanging out with and going to camp and doing things with, come on in, he's a good guy. They privatize it. Then it becomes cost-benefit analysis.
Right.
Profit motive instead of public good. Now, 15 years later, you have the same problem, just as bad, 3 times as expensive, and you can't get any help from the government because technically this is a private corporation. You signed a contract, different law, different stuff going on there, and different accountability. And I think that what we need to consider in a big way in this company is what in this country is what companies do to it or for it. I'm extremely small business positive, and I'm extremely against corporations. Ultimately, 2 things I would love to see happen, and I would love to help create, because that's what I believe this job is, just create. It's like a D&D campaign. You're supposed to sit there and work through these problems socially and come up with an actual thing that reduces harm, right? We need a bloodthirsty, aggressive, joyful antitrust department. We need a group of anti-monopoly just hounds who do it for the love of the game.
Yeah. Unleash
Right?
Lena
Oh,
Khan.
nice.
That's what I say. Unleash the beast of Lena Khan.
We need her to train a legion, and then we need that legion to metastasize like a cancer. And then we need to make that about the size of a DOJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the beautiful thing is, right, they talk about free market. It's not free if we're just making you a better shark.
Right.
Free market means when you die, we get to eat your carcass too. And it's an ecosystem. So the small businesses will profit. The small businesses will grow. People will be able to create more. I come from a gardening perspective. Permaculture creates more high yield growth, more safe for consumption foods, and ends food deserts. Every single room we're in on this could probably feed a street with a gardener doing it the right way. And that's just talking greenhouse. That's not talking an acre. Permaculture is always better than monoculture. It's like that way in nature. It's like that way with corporations. So when when countries, I'll say anybody, not just America, do this privatization, buddy gentrification, shuffle papers BS, you end up robbing the entire community of the ability to be a part of its own ecosystem. All those business owners who will never be because you wanted to be a big shark. Right? That's why you can't get the right kind of fiber optic, but your parents write down anywhere else. I won't like accidentally dox them. Don't say anything. But like, that's why we could be spitting distance from each other and we can't get the same company. Right? We can't get the same service. And it's a public good. You need power. You need internet. So we need that diversity.
I 100% agree with that. And I think there should be certain things that are public goods, and there should be heavy regulations around them. Healthcare being obviously one of them, and energy being one of them. Like private companies, water being one of them. Nestle shouldn't own all freshwater resources in entire entire New England. But speaking of money and corporate influences, so we have a scenario that I built out, and let's pose that to you and see how you deal with it. Right?
Okay, let's do it.
It's your first week in Congress. You've been elected. Okay. Congratulations. A lobbyist from a major pharmaceutical company approaches you and says they'll fund your re-election campaign. They're already talking about funding your re-election campaign. If you vote against a drug pricing bill, the bill isn't perfect, but it helps people in your district. What do you do, and how do you keep the lights on in your next campaign?
Okay. We're live, right?
Yes.
Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I said fuck off. I say get away from me. I'm going to read the legislation myself. I'm going to go to my district and hear what they have to say. If you want to leave a pamphlet of your company's statistics, I'll take the research. But I know you funded it. Yeah. I know it's probably incomplete research. So I'll take the research because it's knowledge. But I'm going to fact check it against everything else. If it benefits my district and they want it, groovy. But, I don't believe in career politicians. And one of the first things I'm going to do on principle when I get in is support pre-existing, but also draft my own bills that are going to limit our ability to run and rerun and have campaign finance. And I don't think you should be able to lobby anybody and then say, I'll fund this. You should be able to lobby like, hey, knock, knock, you're accessible to me.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Here's the research. We lobbied for impeachment at local congressional districts on the 17th, and we just lobbied for impeachment like 2 weeks ago. I was just in D.C. That we woke up on that Saturday and they bombed Iran, right? But like we were there that Friday in D.C. lobbying. I didn't offer anybody money.
Well, that's it. I mean, the companies or the lobbying entities that are offering giant checks or campaign promises are undermining the efforts of everyone who is genuinely trying to lobby. For a good cause, for the better.
Yeah. Money always comes with strings. It sounds dreamy, but you need to win on the merit of your ideas. If I'm not the kind of person who's going to remember every single detail all the time, but that's also because I drown myself in details and I'm detail oriented. That's a me problem.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to, on a granular level, explain to me things in detail. And you can then maybe win me over because you've done the work. But that's the job, right? Like you need to be able to talk with people, not for them, against them, to them. And you need to be able to win people over with ideas. And if you're starting to play the like, well, red versus blue versus money versus district versus redistricting, you've lost sight of the ball. You're playing a completely different game now. Your job isn't to do that. Like if that needs to be its own job just because of the vicissitudes of power and party politics, then we should elect nonpartisan retired judges or something to figure that out. You need to be focused on your district.
Yep.
And anybody who offers you money to vote a certain way should probably live the rest of their lives in some kind of federal prison. I'm more abolitionist than not,
Right.
but there is a place for prisons.
Yeah.
Some people just have to go to prison. I mean,
Some people do have certainly. No, some people definitely belong in prison. No, that's definitely true.
These Epstein files have me reconsidering my own religious beliefs about hell. I'm like, I kind of want it to be real. Like, this is terrible.
like maybe we do need a hell.
Maybe
Yeah,
we do.
like,
Maybe we do. Can we get a
I'm
fast
looking
track
at my
to-
own hands. I'm like, I'm a pacifist, right? I know I'm a pacifist. I'm just
Right?
like,
You really gotta look in the mirror in these situations. Like,
Yeah.
well, because
Remember
you know,
who you are.
you just don't think that people could be like that evil, but there it is.
you know what it is? It's like, they can. We hate admitting it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We
you
know
don't
they
want to.
can. But the thing that I think about the files the most blew my mind was how quickly, from day one, when we were all babies, from day one, power didn't even hesitate. Power was excited to get close to these people, to insulate them. I don't know if that's a celebrity worship thing. I don't know if that's just an inherent weakness in the human psyche. I don't know if that's, well, he's my friend and I have dissonance and I don't understand why. I'm going to compartmentalize it and forget. The thing that bothers me is not the evil, because the evil we know about. We've read about Genghis Khan. We've read about everything in history. I'm not surprised at the terrible things people are willing to do. I'm surprised at the people who are not willing to stop the people who did terrible things. My blood curdled when I read confirmation of all the things we had hoped were wrong but thought were true. Like, that's the thing. If you don't have courage, I love my friends to death. It would break my heart. But if I saw they did that, I would break them personally. And I'd bring them in personally. Like, you cannot shield power like that. So that's the thing that disturbed me the most, was you knew what was going on with these kids. And that's what you chose?
Yeah.
That should be a crime. That's I mean, frankly, while we're on the topic, from a legal perspective, I believe that this is a level of treason because of the many ways it's jeopardized our national security. The international courts have said they're crimes against humanity. If you aided and abetted, right? Like, I think a lot of people are going to be tried for this, not just for active participation, but for their ability to shield it.
Yeah.
Known or should have known, right, is a level of scrutiny in the law. And I think we're going to see a lot of people go down. And I will be there to help, either in Congress, or if I don't win, right, finishing my law school and still gunning for them. That's what I'm gunning for.
Courtroom. There you go.
Either way, we're taking them out, right?
Yeah.
Like, we need justice.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think if that doesn't happen with whoever in the next administration is, it's failure. It's a failure. 100% a failure.
But people are ready. People are ready to revolt. So they're gonna give it.
100%. And it's just kind of sad to see that our vassal state, the United Kingdom, is at least arresting some people, and we're over here doing the complete opposite. So that is a little bit sad to see. But then you're like, at least there's some hope in humanity that Mendelsohn and Andrew are going to jail a little bit.
I haven't looked up my name. I mean, there's not a 0% chance any of us could be in there because we existed at the same time as this bastard. But like, if I looked it up, I know I'm not in there, but if I looked it up and I saw my name in there,
that's an interesting.
well, like, I would be down Times Square with a bell and like, yo, talk to me. I'm not in it. Release it. Like, I would be like,
Right.
Yelling
Like,
at everybody.
Jon Stewart came out and was like, guys, listen, I'm in them. but here's why. And it was because they were like, oh, we should make a documentary and he should narrate.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought he handled that well.
Yeah, the amount of people are in them and are just like not talking about it.
Yeah.
I would be in the middle of Times Square being like talking about everything. Here's how I'm not involved.
This is why I'm in there. Yeah.
100%.
Well, of course, because there's hundreds of people in there just because he had his hands in everything in every country. Like, of course, you're going to be mentioned, but some people are mentioned a little too much under.
I love how Norman Finkelstein and Xi Jinping are mentioned in there. I think like that is so base, like the fact that they're like, you want me to go to Jeffrey's Island? I should strangle you and everybody that you're associated with. I love that. Is so base. Like that is just that is the best way you could be mentioned in the Epstein files ever.
Yeah. I would wear that on a T-shirt for the rest of my life. I'd be like, you were all cowards.
Yeah.
What up?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's very like. Sometimes you just have to make a stand. And at the end of the day, you need to decide what's the cost of that stand. Am I willing to lose my district to protect my district? If that answer isn't yes, I shouldn't represent my district.
Agreed.
Like that's an entry level, like in the future, that's going to be normal. Like right now, that probably seems woo, but that's not like to me, that's nothing.
We keep talking to these people who just want government to like function for the people. Like, what are they all thinking? What are you guys all thinking?
Yeah. And I mean, leadership, my interpretation of leadership is that it's supposed to empower people to make their own decisions. I want you to walk through your life every day, benefit at every level of your day from the government, be as active as you want in your local communities and local governments, whatever, but not feel extracted from. I don't want you to feel like your government was in your day, interrupting your day, ruining your day. That's what I feel all the time, right? Like, so leadership to me is the idea of empowering others to just live their lives without this interruption.
Sure.
You know?
Well, I think you had didn't you have a question about term limits and stuff like that?
Yes.
So why don't you go ahead and ask that since it's kind of a good segue.
Yes, it's relevant. So we've been talking about that and leadership. Do you support term limits, and do you have any idea how well just basically how do you think about them, and like how would you structure them? Like how long, how would you support them for Congress or Supreme Court? Like, how do you talk to us in a little bit of detail? Like, how do you see that happening?
So about 11-ish years ago, I wrote like a constitutional restatement because I figured the law is like water. It flows downhill from the source. If we start here, we can keep things organized. In the constitutional restatement, I had term limits pretty well defined. It all centers around the first bit, which is you will not spend more than, I think, like 18 or 16 years in politics, period. Like once you hit like 16 years, you need to run for president or win, or you're done. That goes from Board of Ed to Congress. That goes through all of it. Now, the federal judiciary is a little bit different, but I do think that the Supreme Court needs to not be a lifetime term. The original idea of that was to insulate them from political pressure. Well, that didn't work, right? So, right. You know, I think that in an ideal world, right, it's the Connecticut Compromise that created the House of Representatives. And the House of Representatives is meant to be 2-year re-election periods because you're supposed to be constantly answerable to the people. And the senators get 6 years. As a congressional representative, I see zero reason why you should serve more than 4 to 6 years. If you can't get your policies forward and train the next generation, I don't think you're doing a good job. And the idea of having a political party, in theory, should be that it's a relay race. I do my part. Nav does their part.
Yep.
and that does their part. And maybe it's Jake who got it over the line.
Yeah.
And we were all very different, had different strengths, and maybe things didn't go well, and then they did. But when it comes to term limits, I think that we should kill the idea of a career politician. I mean, the only thing that's really changed my mind on that is seeing Zoran. Because now I'm like, yeah, man, if you just want to do this for like 70 years, right now,
Go for it.
it's looking like he's not going to, be a problem. I have to not trust him as much as I love him, because that's the job in a democratic society is you have to make everybody earn it. Do not trust me. Right? I mean, in life, maybe I'll earn it, but like as a never a politician.
As long as he keeps earning
only a
it,
public
you
servant.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, never a politician, always a public servant.
100%. I feel this way too. Is like each day he wakes up, he has to earn it all over again, every single day. And he can screw it up in one single day.
I mean, I come from the acting world. It's a gig economy. Every year, that producer can say, "Great work. I'm not renewing your contract."
Yeah.
Thank you. We love you. I want you to do well. We're just not doing that, and that's just, you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that politicians, it should be all public servants and no politicians, but people who work in these careers need to understand that this is a gig economy. Right. You're a state rep for 2 years, then you were nothing. You did something else for a while. Then you ran again. You did well. Okay. Then you did something else for a while. Okay. You've worked on and off in politics for 30 years, but you've only really served 12.
Right.
Go serve that congressional delegation, right? But you can't be a 30-year incumbent, 17-year incumbent. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to what you said you were talking about in the beginning, being in the community, knowing what's going on with your people, actually experiencing it yourself. Like if you're 30 years removed from being actually in the world, you have no idea what's going on. So 100%.
Yeah. And that's why if you're going to have political parties, I'm trying to primary an incumbent Democrat. It's never been done.
Jim Hines, correct?
Petitioning onto the ballot in Connecticut has never been done. Right? Like, I already know it can be done. No one's done it. And in my mind, as a martial artist, it's a level of weakness, right? You need to spar sometimes, right? If I win, let's say I primary him, I win, all that happens. I want a primary, right? Like, I want to then be answerable to that next generation who's like, hey, thanks for repping the millennials. I'm Gen Z or I'm Gen Alpha. Like, I'm 19, I'm 25, I'm whatever. Thanks for this. I loved this. I hated that. Like, we need that discussion. Yeah. That's important. That's part of congressional accountability. If we're going to have political parties, the job is to do that as often as possible. That's what town halls are.
Yeah.
Right. It's a hot seat with everybody. Exactly. Right. So I think that we also need to, and I know it becomes a constitutional issue because states are empowered to run their own elections and parties are empowered to do their own thing.
Yep.
But I would want to make a case somehow for a level of non-coercive universal voting, supporting the structure and the access of universal voting, and open primaries. I would love for there to be a ranked choice primary system where every party gets 2, period, for the general election.
Yep.
So when the general election comes down, no matter how it went, you have 2 Republicans, you have 2 Democrats, you have 2 progressives, you have 2 working families parties, you have 2 independents. A lot of people aren't going to like that.
No.
But that's actually more democratic, and that's going to represent districts better, and it's going to do exactly what it's meant to do, which is destroy hegemonic power between the 2 parties.
Yeah, which they'll always fight against, but
always they'll find the next way to win, and then the next person has to think ahead, and that's the job.
Solution. Correct.
Right?
So maybe we'll talk about that. When we interviewed Andrew Rice, who is running against Rosa DeLauro, also a Courage candidate, he, as much as me and Annette are in politics, I didn't know how difficult it was to get on the ballot, even just for the primary. So maybe maybe talk a little bit about your
Sure.
battle against
Your
Himes
experience.
and like
Yeah, please.
what you've been doing and what you plan on doing, because your is coming up in August, correct?
Yes and no. So yeah,
Okay.
our primary would be August 11th. That only happens if it happens. So we get 42 days. August 28th to roughly like June 8th, June 9th, I would probably cut it off early to make sure I'm in compliance and get that stuff in and verified and ready to go. We have to gather 2% of, and I may be mistaken on this last part, but we have to get 2% of the vote for people who voted in the last election. I did the math with 6 other people who are much better than me at math. It does come out very consistently to about 42,000 signatures.
Okay.
Here's where it gets tricky. I'm Sicilian and Boricua. 4,200 signatures is not hard, right? 4,200 signatures is not hard.
Yeah.
They need to be registered to the party, right? And in order to be in a closed Democratic Party, they need to be Democrats. Not Working Families Party, not independents, not Republicans who are Republicans kind of in name alone, but are actually progressive and they don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Right? Because we do have a lot of those. It's kind of,
I believe majority of the country is like that.
it's so much of the country,
Yeah.
right? But those signature collectors also have to be registered Democrats. So some of my family is conservative. They want me to win. They believe in some of the policies that I talk about, even if they think I'm misguided on how to get there. But they like the end result.
Yeah.
They can't even help me.
Yeah.
Because they're not registered. So it becomes a logistical issue. It becomes a class warfare, right? Because what also happens is in that environment, it becomes very brackish water. So the people who finally even make it up to that rank owe a ton of favors. Right? It's one thing to know people and be able to work with them. It's another thing to not be free. So as a new person who comes in and says, everybody, I'm doing this. I'm not asking permission to do this. I'm not asking you to support me. Right? Like I'm not coming in here entitled to that. I don't want you to feel like you have to help. But I'm letting you know I'm going to try and be the first through the door, which means I'm going to get hit. If I get through, that clears the way for the rest of us. If I don't get through, it gives us the data to get through.
Right.
So I'm willing to be brave and do this because in these brackish waters, if you make the wrong person angry, that's it. There's no other recourse. So it's a huge population and it's a dense and thriving and very diverse population. But it's not a diverse representation. It's a very closed loop. Everybody knows each other.
Right.
So being an outsider who comes in and says, listen, I'm here to take the risk and I want to work with you, not against you. I've gotten a lot of positivity, a lot of really like relief. People are relieved and excited. I've also had people who just kind of, I'll see that they say I exist and they'll just not look at me because they don't want to make angry those who have helped them.
Right.
They don't want to lose their friends or lose the people who make their job easier because they have to play their game just to get that one pothole filled.
Right.
And on the local levels where things get done. That's what Amanda Littman says, and I believe in her cause. I really do. Just because I'm a federal level candidate, I love run for something. But in our state, that's kind of how that game is played. So I've gotten a lot of help, but it's been a lot of like, and they don't want to be seen helping.
Right.
And I get it.
I'm sure it's like that in a lot of states and a lot of different places. I mean, it feels very undemocratic in its, in the soul of it. But
yeah,
it's
it's funny you say that too. It's like every time, the more we like go into like election rulings or election finances, I'm like, yeah, this isn't really democracy, man. Like this is something else. This is something else.
Well, because also, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was done. I was just agreeing. It is.
Okay. There's also the logistical hurdle, right? Like, I've only started fundraising last week.
Okay.
I started my campaign July 2025. I wanted people to know I was not this dude just showing up in your inbox asking for money. I hate that. I'm tired of it. I'm broke. I can't give you money. Like,
Right.
I know what it feels like to have that financial violence be put on me. But the reality is, and I hate it, the reality is a political campaign is an LLC with a time limit and no product.
Yeah.
And you just hope people will give you money.
Yeah.
Right? They say we're the product. We're the product if we win.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Like if you
don't, you just go away, I guess.
Right. So, I've made and I'm going to talk about this openly here because some videos are in the tank and will be posted, but I've also said this out loud before. I've made a commitment to no corporate PAC, right, money, no APAC money, but I've also made a commitment to try and win the campaign broke. Representative Jim Himes took upwards of $70,000 from APAC in the last election cycle, which was post October 7th. So, even if you were less informed on the genocide that was already happening since the Nakba, it was pretty hard for you to not know.
Yeah.
And that's the money he took. So I've told everybody I will try and win this campaign on half of that. I want to try and spend any dollar that I raise over $35,000 just on mutual aid. I met Kat Abugazela twice. I've talked to her and Dylan Blahan, Demi Pilecki, and Pelikek and how they've done mutual aid. I want to basically take this campaign and make it a funnel right into the community, right? And because he's got $4 million cash on hand,
Yeah.
and I don't see him doing it, and he could.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, and the reality is, in order to have flyers and lit and buy the minivan app, which is owned by the Democratic Party, to buy the tools you need to even reach people to the degree that they feel like you're safe, they feel like you're a winnable horse, they feel like they could take you seriously. I'm going to be real with you. In any district, 35,000 might not be enough.
No.
But I have a whole lifetime of making it work for less.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try for it. I learned how to sword fight. I learned how to act. I didn't go to conservatory.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we get it done. Shoestring and heartstring, we get it done.
Yeah. Right.
So that's been the hardest part about coming into the district and saying, I'm home. I'm going to do this for you. You don't have to follow me into the breach, but we're running out of time and we got to do something bold, and I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit. If I can.
Somebody said Joe has worked everywhere, huh?
I really have. Yeah. It was hard to find work for a while, and then you do, and then, you put your best foot forward. But yeah, I've worked everywhere.
Are you, maybe we take a little bit of a international politics pivot here. Are you comfortable talking about Kat?
Sure. Yeah, I've heard.
Have you heard what's happened? Yeah.
Yeah, I was in DC when I told you I was in DC a week ago.
Yeah.
I hadn't read the reports because it's midterms for me, so I've been studying my con law for the exam.
Okay.
But I heard from someone that I trust pretty much what she said, and I went, "Huh, really?" Sure.
Interesting.
And this is someone I've commented on, like, Instagram, like, I endorse this person. I'm the first one to tell you I don't like that policy.
Okay.
I don't think that's great. Like,
yeah, let's talk about a little bit about that. Do you say what you'd like to say about her or her comments or your own policy towards China?
So Kat, I've met twice, and I find her to be an incredibly sincere person.
Okay.
And I believe that she is who she is on camera. I know this. I've seen it. Kat is doing at 26 what I wish I had done at 26, which is really changing a lot for her district, kind of disrupting campaign finance. There are a lot of things I admire about her. But we're all human beings. And at the end of the day, we're all complicated. And I might have takes where you're like, man, I talked with Joe for 3 hours on a live and I liked him, but
that one, yeah.
Where did that come from? Right.
Listen, it's almost St. Patrick's Day. I love the Irish. I love creamy pints, right? If you and I are drinking, laughing, having a good time, and then I start a bar fight, are you obligated to now support me in my terrible decision? No. Right? So China, I have studied through my martial arts major at University of Bridgeport. I've studied the Western Hemisphere and the Eastern Hemisphere. China has an incredibly rich and beautiful history. It is unfathomably wealthy in its history and its record keeping, in what they've invented. I mean, there's serious evidence, not Chinese propaganda, serious evidence that an emperor invented a biplane, right? And then just destroyed it, right? Like there's evidence of like gliders and wind biplanes. So China has always been ahead of the curve. I'm always going to take a stand against any genocide anywhere. And so I have many critiques of many governments. I'm always going to take a stand against any corporate extraction anywhere. So I'm going to have many critiques against many governments. And I'm always going to take a stand against anyone who threw the first punch. Full stop. So I'm going to have many critiques of many governments. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I'm not a warrior. I don't know what the loudness of war is. I haven't been in a firefight. But I've had guns held to my head, and I've been stabbed, and I know what that feels like to know if I make the wrong decision, I'm going to die. People are cavalier ex post facto, but in the moment, it's an adrenaline dump. I think saying, well, we'll just fight them. That is a thing that when you're in the moment and you have to follow through on that, you start feeling how little oxygen you have, feeling how tired your muscles are, feeling how slow you are. That's not a situation to get in. And China also, to be incredibly fair, is doing a far better job than us. Their home ownership ratio right now is exquisite.
It's insane. Yeah, it's insane.
Their rail is exquisite.
Right.
Frankly, we should probably see if they're willing to bring 30, 40, 50, 100 scientists over for a cultural exchange, and maybe we can learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
So there are, diplomacy is always better. And China has, I mean, if you've read Three Kingdoms by Lu Guozhang, I have this blue screen up because I'm rebuilding my library, so all my books are down. But Three Kingdoms by Lu Guozhang is not just, the Iliad and the Odyssey and a warfare manual. It's a manual on diplomacy. It's how smaller states stayed alive and kept their songs and kept their rights and kept their lives when bigger states were having multinational joint conflicts and were conquering each other. All of that is to say, because I'm a huge nerd for China in that respect, historic angle.
That's a W.
No, I would probably not be voting on any resolution in which that was. I would probably co-sponsor most of the things Kat would sponsor. That is something that I would want her holding me back if I was trying to get into that bar fight.
Yeah.
And I think Iran is showcasing what happens when you just start a massive conflict for no reason.
Yeah, I mean that conflict, it would be a 1,000 times worse than the conflict with Iran. Like,
because Iran right now is like, leave us alone and don't dishonor us.
Right.
Keep it 100, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
China will say, okay.
Yeah.
We'll come for you when we want.
Yes.
And then they'll just plan it.
I mean, the technological superiority, there is no other nation that rivals the United States or has ever rivaled the United States. Maybe the Soviet Union briefly for maybe like 5 years. The way China is going, they're technical. Yes, they don't have a. Oh, did we lose you?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. It started.
No, I was just sorry.
No. Your screen it just went black for a minute on my end. No, okay. They don't have a blue water navy at the moment, but they're building 3,000 ships a year, and we're building 3. We don't have that capability. That war will have millions and millions.
As an individualistic culture, you don't start a war with a collectivist culture. What Americans don't understand, let's not even talk about war for a minute. Let's just talk about the logistics, as you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Right now, Flint doesn't have Michigan. Flint, Michigan doesn't have water, right? West Virginia, Louisiana, North Carolina, lots of places are still devastated from
Yep.
natural disasters and, haven't gotten any aid.
Yep.
Minneapolis, Chicago, under siege. In
LA.
China,
Yeah.
even if you own the house, if a natural disaster happens, the house gets fixed.
Yeah.
In China, if a bridge goes into the sea, they study why it happened, and a better bridge is up pretty quickly.
Yes.
Couple months, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
faster.
Within the year, easily. Yeah.
So we have to really understand, like, do you want to fist fight Wolverine?
Yeah.
Do you want to fist fight the person that
It's not-
has
it's not
strategy, tactics, senses, and the ability to rebuild itself, and
Yeah.
maybe some better weaponry than you?
fun. Yeah.
I don't know if I want to.
I mean,
Even if I know what I'm doing.
maybe we
have
don't even have to go that far.
I mean, we'd have to accept the idea that capitalism is bad for us. That hoarding, like
Yes.
the hoarding of all the wealth, instead of putting it into our infrastructure, putting it into our, people, is harms us in that way.
Well, and I forget the person's name who formally invented and coined and described the word capitalism. But capitalism, I do remember this part of it. Its central tenet was that if you amassed more of the wealth, then it became your responsibility to continue to distribute it among the community. The idea of capitalism was actually that you were almost like a fiscal mayor. You were then responsible for continuing it in motion. That is an idea of charity, not of mutual aid. That is an idea of governance. And frankly, I'm just going to say it, that's racism. That's patriarchy and white
Sure.
exceptionalism,
The white supremacy.
right?
Yeah.
It's the idea of like, well, I'm the superior man, and now I'm going to give you charity, right? Like, you've given it to me. This is why we have what we have in Connecticut too. Like, we should feel more comfortable calling it what it is.
Yeah.
There is this superiority of I've made it. I pulled it up from my bootstraps because I worked harder, or I was smarter, or. That's just not the way the world is. That's the way your ego wants it to be, and society has found a way, and your work ethic has found a way, and luck has found a way to support this delusion.
Yeah.
But it is a delusion. So I have many critiques of capitalism. I have many critiques of how people have organized their socialism. I have lots of critiques for communism, but mostly I have critiques for the way that any system that comes out there will just be people who try and take advantage, and it will get ruined. Organization is like music. Sheet music is fine, but you're here to hear it. So there's a difference between that theory and praxis. And in praxis, there will always be the capitalist. There will always be the conqueror. There will always be the white supremacist or the patriarchal person who's going to try and poison the well. So the beautiful thing about a democracy is we're supposed to all kind of collectively loud enough be like, poisoner, no, and get them back. But we're not doing a very good job.
No, not at all. We've kind of skirted around this topic a little bit now, so maybe we'll go right into it. No. That's it. I guess it's kind of by design. But we will talk about the genocide that is happening to the Palestinians, right? So I know we mentioned that word a couple times now. So let's just go there. What is your stated policy towards Israel at the moment?
Well, right now, first off, free Palestine out of the gate. Let's just throw that out there. My district has many practitioners of the Jewish faith. And this specifically has caused a great sundering between families. Some who believe in Zionism, some who might not be ardent Zionists, but that it's the polite, like they want the safety of the notion of Israel, but they don't want the cruelty. And then there are Jews who are like, no, like they're our siblings. Like, this is terrible. and it's really ripping my district apart. Mostly it's quiet, but I've talked to people who come back from the quiet, right? Come back from the homes and come back from, their families and discuss it. My viewpoint is relatively simple. Israel has a legal mandate to exist only on a certain line. They have conquested by annexation, which is illegal under international law. They've used violent methods to do it. I believe no land held by Israel is valid outside of the original mandate. And I also believe that original mandate, I think, especially in light of the last 70 years, it's time to perhaps review what that looks like. There should be a unified one-state solution, the nation of Palestine.
Okay.
How we get there while healing generations of trauma, how we get people to break bread when they've been, this is a terrible analogy, but it's been a Hatfield and McCoy situation of multiple generations of these nations. But it's also one-sided. And we have, as Americans, power in that. This could not have gotten this bad without us supplying arms, without us looking the other way. So, taking a note from China, I believe in a little lesson for Israel. I believe in a full, down to the cent, economic divestment from the nation of Israel. Let them practice diplomacy. Now, a lot of people will say that's insane, but the reality is that is also what it means to be a nation. You don't go around and murder every single neighbor and call Big Brother to bail you out. I think it's time, because there are many Israelis who are angry as well. I mean, I know the stats that are coming out of it are overwhelmingly one-sided because of the success of the propaganda within Israel. But there is a good measure of born Israelis who are very angry about what's happening to the Palestinians. And I've seen the videos of people protesting in the streets for Palestinians to have their nation and their human rights.
Yes.
So, I mean, all that's to say, I don't know the best way forward, and it would be arrogance for me to assume I do. But I know that we have the kill key to stop a lot of the bloodshed, and we're culpable, and we have to be responsible for the bloodshed that started. We talk about immigration, we talk about asylum, but I have not heard a lot of talk about our government offering asylum to Palestinians. I've not heard our government say, hey, we need this entire thing to stop. Let's just make sure everyone's safe and healthy and fed and eating and doing what they need to do, and let's discuss this. We're just giving them more missiles.
Yep.
On Tuesday the 17th, we did the local office lobbying, and I sat down with Himes. He showed up. Okay. I will give him this credit. He showed up. Now, his staffer said he was out of state, but he showed up. And I let him know a couple of things as a constituent, not as a candidate, but some of those things are mirrored. And I asked him, I was like, listen, you took 70,000 from AIPAC. You know, like, this is happening in Palestine. Like, what are you going to do? And one of his statements was, well, I stopped them from sending a certain poundage bomb, like certain poundage levels of bombs to there. And I'm like, okay, well, Wikipedia says they was, not they is. And I've seen videos in their parking lots. And I follow the Gaza skate team. And I see these kids just overjoyed that they landed a kickflip. But I see the buildings behind them getting lower and lower. Like, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
And I believe that is also something that perhaps some criminal proceedings are in order, not just with the international court, but locally. We murdered them. That was us. That could not happen without us.
Yeah.
And it lies very heavy on my heart. And I try and be a smiley guy, and I try and be very
Hard to be.
positive. But this is not a positive. Like, this is like a show up, show out, thing. And if we're Americans who want to pretend that we're freedom fighters, pretend that we're humanitarians across the world, it's time to do the job.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I didn't grow up watching Superman and watching Luke Skywalker and then be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go watch them in theory and then ignore the facts that are happening outside when people are disenfranchised by empires and harmed.
We are the empire. We are the dark side right now. Right?
We are the dark side. And the sad thing is that the entire world is giving us so much grace.
Yeah.
And I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like, are your pronouns she, her?
Yeah.
I feel like women give a lot of men grace and we don't deserve it. Right. And I feel like the international community gives American citizens a lot of grace. They're like, come on, do a revolution already. Right. Like, they give us a lot of grace knowing we're not the empire, but like,
right. But we're just allowing it.
We're still allowing it. And part of it is we're just impoverished. Right. Like, a part of it really is
that's the thing. It's
organized, right?
That's it. It's not as simple as, oh, we just go and overthrow our government. Like, okay, our government's not your government. Our government is heavily, heavily armed. We're all kept, just like you said, we're all working. We're kept very separate from the system. I mean, you're trying as hard as you can to break in, and your own party has set up roadblocks. The party that should be, which you said has to an extent some people have invited you in, but the system, the structure, the infrastructure there is keeping you out as best as it can. So it's like, we've talked about this all the time. When you try to participate even in listening to a candidate talk somewhere, it's complicated. You go to like, oh, I'm having this talk about education at a coffee shop. You show up. Where's the signage? Where's the candidate? Like, all I see is a bookstore. Where am I going? So like, it's not a very, like, yes, you can watch C-SPAN. Yes, you can follow everybody on social media, but it's not an easy system to participate in and keep informed with. And we're actively incentivized not to.
Yeah.
No, so the reason I kind of wanted to talk about it when we were looking through your website, it was a little bit confusing as to like, I guess you can take it however you want to take it. It was a little bit confusing on your policy around Israel and Palestine. So I'm glad you kind of cleared that up a little bit.
Yeah, I can rewrite for sure.
Yeah, no, I think
we kind of read it to seem like we thought you were more supportive of a two-state.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah. That's why we were like, oh, we have to definitely talk about this.
I'm in support of the obvious intermediary process that would happen to create a one state, which would be, I'm a law student. We'd go back to the original mandate, the Balfour Declaration, which should have never happened. Right. And we will at least start there because that entire nation is a military base. You can't just one state a military base, and they have armaments and warheads, and that's our fault. Like, Netanyahu's the kind of guy, if he knows he's going down, he's probably going to take a lot of innocent people with him. Yeah, so there's got to be a procedural approach that I think makes sense.
Yeah.
And, respects human dignity. I love saying F the president, but the reality is to take him down, we do need to use certain methods to limit the amount of explosive, depraved heart murder he would try and cause on his way out.
Yeah.
And that's really what I meant in that is I want to look at the original.
Gotcha.
Like, let's get you here.
Yeah.
Get things de-teethed. Let's rebuild some things, because how do you harmonize people when I'm not from there? I have no skin in that game. I shouldn't have a say, right? How do you give Palestinians and Israelis the opportunity. How did the Palestinians get their keys back? How did they get their homes back? Like, so many are dead. I don't know what kind of rectification is ever going to be possible. And I think that what we've seen out of the Palestinian people, the beauty of their culture, the love, the prayers, who they are, even under all this fire. On a spiritual level, I would rather be one of them than an American. Seeing what Americans are, how, despite all our beauty and all our differences and all our diversity, seeing how we've responded to oppression versus how Palestinians have responded to oppression, I hold them in very high regard. And I think that they need to lead the way. And unfortunately, I think when you only have U.S. and Israeli voices, and you know, even in international law, like, how often do we just destroy what the UN Security Council says, right? Like, we need that group to take their power back and have their agency back, and it's not their fault that they don't have it. And I don't know the best way forward, but I think if we amplify and listen to some of the survivors that come out, they will lead us.
Yeah,
that would be my hope, and that's the only reason I say it that way, is because we have to get some survivors out before there's nobody left.
Yeah. I mean, and Palestine again is not the only place we've done this to.
Yeah.
You know, Cuba, perfect example. We've had an embargo for so long, and with the economic oppression that we've employed on that nation, and that they've still formed a way to be so resilient and to go so far as to be denied the COVID vaccine, and then they developed their own, and then they shared it with their own. I look at when we were talking about the healthcare problems earlier on. Cuba kept screaming in the back of my head, like, their healthcare system is phenomenal. There's so many interviews coming out, you know, when you hear to the Cuban people asking about, like, well, what do you, you know, how's your day-to-day life, how are you experiencing things? Of course they're obviously pissed off with their own government, but because they're systematically oppressed by the most powerful and richest nation on the world. But one story that really sticks with me is, he's like, before the revolution, I would have to I had to take my wife on my back for 40 miles just to be able to get her medical care. You know, but now there's a clinic right down the street from me, and I can go, and I go there, and everything is provided for.
Right.
He's like, yeah, like, life is incredibly hard for me because of the empire, right?
Yeah.
But I can do that. I can do that. You know, and then you think, like, well, if they didn't have this oppression, where the world could be, where if we allowed it, just today, and there's so many examples, this comes out, like, how we suppress the entire planet, and it's just a little bit ridiculous. Just today, this morning, we had the I forgot his name, the energy secretary, Chris Wright, the Secretary of Energy. He's in India right now, and he literally goes to another sovereign nation who is supposedly our partner. I'm Indian, and I hate the government. They're in fact Nazis, like, they're straight up Nazis. But he goes there to a nuclear sovereign nation and goes, we're not going to let you develop. We're not going to repeat the mistake that we made with China, that we allowed them, we partnered with them, and now they're competing with us. He says it. He doesn't even, like, it's not even like hidden behind word. No, he goes, we're not going to let you do it. Like, the thinking of, like, that is insane. Like, you are going to a nation who is supposedly your ally, and you just tell them, like, we're going to keep you poor, and we're going to keep you under our thumb forever.
Yeah. I mean,
like, that is insane. Like, there's no other way to put it, right? Like, it's just insane.
There have been many great nations and city-states in the world, and their languages are gone. I believe human beings will probably be on Earth long after America is gone, long after the data and hard drives that all of this is on, will have eroded and become obsolete, and maybe they'll have some other system. I don't know, whatever. That's not the point. But the point is that the world is ready to move on from the United States. We're not the shining star. Even our shine was built off the glisten of blood. And then this promise that we've offered you, all of us will ascend if we just blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Built on slavery and the genocide of natives. And then all of that was to get us to be here and be laborers, right? Tony Soprano, he's fictitious, but famously says, you only let us in because you wanted laborers. I'm Boricua. The only reason they have the territory the way it is, right? The nation, I believe in a free Borican, the way it is, because they needed soldiers.
Yep.
They wanted the men. They wanted the sugar, right? Like they want to do a lot of things, right? La operación, like they sterilized women. They had a eugenics program in Puerto Rico. Yeah, they experimented on them. Many of them couldn't give birth after that. And, so, at the end of the day, I think people are tired of it. And a lot of nations and a lot of markets have prepared for the inevitability that this was a false flag in the first place. And it just happened to last a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
And, you tell people to come here and then you abuse them. You destabilize their nation, extract its wealth, and then abuse them for coming here. So until we can become the United States that we promise we will be, it's kind of time for us to grow up.
Yeah.
Like our nation's now like 18. It's actually time to show up and be what we think we could be or die.
Yeah.
And I don't want us to die. And that's why I'm running. I part of me is like, we're not going to have a 2030. Like I would love to finish law school and do the track, right? Of like, let me just work in this and blah, blah, blah. But we're millennials, man. We've had 17 ends of days.
Right.
Like I know this. Like I know that now's the time to have an American Reconstruction, to have a Renaissance. Yeah. So I think the world is ready for us to move on.
Honestly, I think it's way past that point because there's so much of FDR's New Deal that never got done.
Yep. I mean, it was that time before any of us were born.
Right.
It was that time in 1780.
Yeah.
1780. It should have been no slavery. Everyone's got equal rights. Let's figure this out. We've had a lot of beef with the natives. They should come in. They should lead. Like, we should figure this out in a way that isn't manifest destiny and violence. Yeah. I mean, it's been time.
Right. I mean, you're right. We've never had a period of just being that peaceful, freedom spreading, I guess, nation. That's never been who we are, despite the propaganda that we believe about ourselves.
And the heartbreaking part is it isn't a lie. Like we could be.
Yeah, we could be.
It's not like, we have the inability.
You're right.
Yeah. Right. Like I love the memes that talk about Homelander and Superman. Right. And what America thinks it is versus what it is.
Yeah.
But Homelander can fly.
Yeah.
Like America could be this. America could be this beautiful Renaissance place where every citizen speaks 3 languages and we all live and eat and love and make love and have art, and we can become what we want to be. We can become warriors. We can become doctors. We can become all this. But we got to do the job.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's exactly where I was going to go, maybe to get away from us being so negative. But I went to the Harvard protest against ICE, and I got interviewed there by the Connecticut Mirror as well as CNBC. And one of the reporter there asks me the question, "Are you proud to be an American?" After a bunch of the like me shit talking JD Vance, and I was just like, somebody that is a migrant here. I want to be. So, that's my thing. I want to be. I truly do believe that this nation could be. We literally just talked about this yesterday. We literally just talked about this yesterday. And we'll bring it back again. I'm sure you've seen The Last Airbender, right? Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Yeah,
right? Okay.
yeah,
Did you see Legend of Korra? Are you familiar
yeah.
with that?
It's been
Right.
a long
So
time.
you're right, but like this is what I say. I what I want America to be is the city, the new Avatar city. I forgot what they're called. I forgot what it's called, but
Me too.
New Republic City. New Republic
New York
City.
City?
I want America to be that because it's the only nation that has so much diversity and it is strength. If I was still in India, I would have never met my wife, who is completely different culture than me. She's Dominican. I'm Indian. Like,
Yeah,
where on the planet could I be that could happen, right?
yeah,
Like where I have such a diversity of friends. I'm friends with Annette, who's a white woman. I'm friends with a half black, half Puerto Rican guy who's a Marine, who's a retired, like he's a veteran.
yeah,
I have a Salvadorian friend.
yeah.
And I have a Mexican friend. Like it's this diversity of Irish. Like it's just it
It's
could
so
never
cool.
happen anywhere. It can never happen anywhere on the earth except for America, and we choose to kind of fight against that a lot. And I feel like if we just embraced it and accepted everybody, and we could be this new Republic City where everybody just works to better each other day by day, it could be
Yeah.
this. It 100% could be this.
And I think that's what Zoran's campaign did a really good job of showing earnestly. Here's who we are at our core. Here's what we can be all the time.
Yeah.
Right?
New York City's a good place to do that.
New York is a perfect
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Perfect example too.
And our district starts 23 miles away.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Like
Exactly.
we are politically, economically
Yeah.
under its influence, which
Mhm.
kind of sucks for us because New Yorkers won't consider us New York, but New Englanders won't consider us New England. But we are
Right.
we are considered by range a suburb. That's we're still Connecticut.
Yeah.
But
Do you get offended when other Connectians are just, oh, that's just New York?
Okay. Before you answer that, we got to, okay. I've been thinking New Yorkers call themselves New Yorkers. Bostonians call them Bostonians. What is the name for Connecticut? We got to come up with a cool name. Like, we can't just be the Huskies, right? Like, that's like UConn.
They
We gotta be,
call
what
us.
are we, Connecticutians? Like, no.
So we do have an official name, and it sucks.
Okay.
We're called Nutmeggers.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
No.
I don't like it either.
Don't be
We need a new name.
I tell you,
Listen, that's your number one policy. I don't care about anything else. That's got to be your number one policy.
One of the things I
Connecticut's
love,
a real name.
Yeah, the thing with Connecticut is we're already so blended, right? We're very close to that Republic City. We do got the Wolf of Wall Street stuff.
Yeah.
But you and I can go on a donkey's run, and someone from Boston will be like, "Oh yeah, they're real.
Yeah.
They're like us." But then we can rock and roll on our feet and navigate, and New Yorkers will be like, "Damn, this okay." Right?
Yeah.
Like we have the benefit of our diversity.
The Giants, half of us like the Patriots. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a beauty to that here. And I think Connecticut doesn't get credit for being what it is, right?
Mm.
I love Bridgeport. I really do. I truly believe Bridgeport could have been for Connecticut what Boston was for Massachusetts, what New York City was for New York. I feel like Bridgeport has been betrayed by its management from the beginning. Bridgeport used to have the Father Panic neighborhood, and that became almost world famous at a certain point, right? Now, time, life, gentrification, corruption, the Reagan era, all these, policy crimes against Black and brown folk and disenfranchisement, times have passed. Now it's a friggin' Bass Pro Shop, right? Where that was.
Yeah.
People need to understand in Connecticut, in my district, we have a national park in my district. In Wilton, we have a national park. In Connecticut, you have people who are like rangers, people who hike, people who fish, people who hunt, people, if you dropped in the middle of the Adirondacks, they'd feel right as rain, comfortable. We have people who are machinists who work in defense contracting. We have people who are, mariners, right? They work in the boats and they work out in the sea. And if you drop them in Maine, They'd be able to work the port. They might have a couple different terms of art, but they'd know the job. We have lawyers who can hop on a train and go right to the city. We have actors who understand what it's like to really hustle in a gig economy. We have everyone, and we kind of belong everywhere outside of our range. But when people look at Connecticut, what do they think of? Maybe Wolf of Wall Street, maybe Stepford Wives, maybe if you're very, very lucky and niche, Dr. Elliot Reed from Scrubs. Nothing much else, right? You're not going to think of Connecticut and see 3 a.m. in Bridgeport and it's a Dominican party and everyone's laughing, having a good time. They don't know who we are. I would love to.
Not very culturally represented.
Right. I would love for my campaign to do that. I would love to show the world who we are, that we've always been here. We've always been true to this. Yes. Right. Zoran showed people New York and he didn't gloss it. Right. The streets were dirty in the background. He just made you love it. I want to show us. I want to show the world us. Like, we're here. We've been here from jump. We're real. We belong everywhere. You belong with us. Right. We've got real problems. But as we've talked this entire time, we also know we don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are real solutions everywhere around the globe.
Exactly.
And we can willingness, inventiveness. Having a job in politics where your whole goal is to think ahead, see the problem before it happens, because patterns repeat and history repeats, try and fix it.
Yeah.
You know, the
100%.
Constitution says we can't have ex post facto laws. So, like, to a certain degree, yes, that's meant to not persecute people you're angry at, but it's also a warning of, like, go ahead, look to the future, right? There are very few things that the Constitution stops Congress from doing, right? The checks and balances to the rest.
You can probably see the chat too, but Cairo says, I was a Division 1 Connecticut hater, but he is making me like Connecticut. So you have a convert.
And I'll tell you right now, I love hating on Connecticut. One of Connecticut's chief exports is hate on Connecticut, but I love it too. I think you need to be right. Everyone who's from New York hates New York, but they love New York.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we do that too. You have to love it. And right, like, I hate the Merritt Parkway and 95.
Yeah.
You're never going to make me love that.
Yeah.
But I love where it takes me.
You know what?
95 is the most terrifying highway I think
it really is.
And I live in South Carolina now, so
yeah.
I've had to do some scary things just to stay alive on that highway. Last minute decisions that I didn't want to make. You know, what are you gonna do?
This is perfect, because before the show started, me and Annette were kind of going over the game plan, and one of the things that we need to talk about is public transportation, and we need to talk about trains. We need to talk about, which you kind of mentioned already a little bit when we were talking about China. Where are we with that? Why can we not have trains that go from New York City to New Haven to Hartford to Boston, where we can get a fast speed train and I can visit all 3 cities in one day if I want to?
So I once heard a speaker deliver a beautiful 45-minute history lesson on this exact question. And they were beautiful. And I'm going to try and mimic that. And I hope the internet hates me, clips it, and finds that person and splices it and makes fun of me and highlights that person. There is a historic moment in our history where a lot of our rail was simply abandoned. Now, there was also the Rockefeller. There was a lot of reasons why rail was still suffering from privatization and corporatization even then. It wasn't a public good. But there was even a point at that where it was like, nope, we're going to urbanize, cars everywhere. That's the game plan. Then during some of the New Deal era, we did at least get some of the highways, but we also got highways as a way to redline. We got highways as a way to disenfranchise people who live there. Right? I just skipped 23 minutes of really beautiful, important history. But ultimately, there's no reason. Right? When we really look at the granular level of all the history, all the there's no reason why we don't have it, because we have the money. The Iran war is costing, I think, $12,000 a second.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, it's cost us like $7 billion already. I don't have like numbers.
God. I can't even. These are like unfathomable numbers. It's like, it's fake. Like,
it's insane. The genocide in Gaza. I was just at a vigil on Monday. They do it every Monday in Bridgeport outside the train station. I think they sometimes move around, but it's in that area, downtown Bridgeport. They did the math, and I can send you the information after if you'd like, but
Yeah.
they
Love it.
basically said in a calendar year, the average Bridgeport taxpayer pays X amount of thousands of dollars in taxes that just went to Gaza, right? Like, so they're like, here's like $43 or whatever of your money per person that went to X, and the entire town spent X just to kill children. Right? So that's why we don't have trains.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I ride trains every day. I am not a trains autistic. I am tired of them. I did the Polar Express tour in Whippany, New Jersey, and I love the experience, but I also commute 2 hours each way, right? So like I've had my train time. I've had my train time. I'm ready for something else.
But you could have a better train, though. You know, you could have a better one.
So
what if it was high tech?
Yes.
What if it was like fast? What if it wasn't 2 hours and it was like super speed, 30 minutes, you're done?
And that comes back to the big bramble I said in the beginning of federal and local. Federal and local. I want more trains. Federal and local. I want roads that are just for 2 and 3 wheel small vehicles. Federal and local. I want trams and buses. Federal and local. I want roads that actually make it feasible to ride your bike. I'm from here. You could ride your bike as a kid. You can't get somewhere here on a bike. There's hills, there's curves. The drivers are insane. There's no real safety. Yeah. So, you know, some of this disenfranchisement is inherent in the city planning and the architecture. And some of it, honestly, you probably can't be unbuilt in one generation. No. But we can reframe our priorities. So I do think we need national trains, right? Like, I know my girlfriend's from California. I know she would love it if she could just get there.
Yep.
Right? Not have to fly. Take one of these fast maglev trains.
I hate flying. I hate flying.
Right? Cargo. We spend X amount on gasoline. You know, trains need rail, and rail occupies space and time. So if rail, I believe in mixed systems, right? So I love solar punk. If rail also extends Wi-Fi for a socialized internet, has biodiversity and filtration, right? Develops green energy through solar, wind, and elsewhere. Now, all of a sudden, you're not just making one project. You're solving multiple problems at the same time. I'm ADD and autistic. I have a hard time multitasking. I have a hard time not multitasking. That's irrelevant. Public projects should be a multitask. And if you can't conceive of it all, get other people to specialize in that. I think we could have national trains that solve multiple problems, especially in urban areas. Right? Now, even what we talked about with like urban hospitals, that could be a portion of that. Maybe it's hard to have all these doctors in that town.
More accessible.
Right.
But they can now commute to that town. Oh, yeah, I live in Chicago. I take a 40-minute train, and, you know, this is where I work. And it's like...
Could be a solution to food deserts as well.
Yeah, that's a 4-hour drive. Well, that's the other thing. Some of these trains can be cargo, right? We can change the trucking industry without losing jobs, right? We can find ways to reframe this. And, you know, I believe in micro gardens and being able to disseminate differently, having a local tram, right? Or being able to have, like right now, Uber's changed things for all of us. What if young kids could have jobs because they could ride bikes with the rickshaw in the back and deliver veggies? And now, like, I'm 18, this is my first job. We talk about creating jobs, but we don't talk about creating jobs. We talk about closing down the delis so that, you know, Chopped gets in here.
You're right.
That's not the same. Those kids in the deli are going to learn a craft and maybe own it one day. Those kids at Chopped are getting robbed of their labor.
Right.
Right.
They're getting exploited.
Like these are not the same. So
you're creating jobs for the corporations and not for the people.
Right. And who gives to campaigns?
Right. Corporations do.
So I took that in a million different directions. That was meant to answer the question fully, not dodge it. If you feel like dodge anything ever, pull me back. Right?
No.
But I
think that's great.
I think multiple problems solve each other in a relationship. I think law and policy is an ecosystem. We live in an ecosystem. Yeah. Our bodies are ecosystems. Our planet is an ecosystem. Our cultures are ecosystems. We need to design things that work with each other.
Yeah. No, like one of the things that came across my feed was that there's a I don't know, maybe you've heard of it. Is there's a well, yeah, you probably did hear of it. They're trying to build a bridge from Long Island to Connecticut.
Yeah.
So you have heard of it, and like I think the Connecticut Assembly is like refusing it because it's so expensive.
Well, that's like in Gladiator when Marcus Aurelius says like there was once a dream that was Rome,
Yeah,
and if you whisper it, it disappears.
right,
They've been talking about that bridge
right,
forever. They've
Eh,
talked about the sediment of the sound, and do you disturb the sediment or do you make it pontoon? What do you?
yeah,
Again, when it comes to big infrastructure, the cheapest time was always 4 generations ago.
exactly.
But no
Yeah.
one talks about money
Yeah,
when it's time to bomb people.
right,
They talk about money
yeah,
when it's time to make lives better.
right,
This is
Right.
an instance where I would argue to the federal government, hey, and Zoran's done a very good job of this as well, and I'll cite that in a minute. I would go to the government and say, hey, tri-state area, New York City, New York State, New Jersey, right, Connecticut. There is infrastructure here that has not been expanded in 80 years. Some of it has been, right? Metro North Railroad is taken care of all the way to New Haven by it's the MTA, so it's the state government of New York, right? But Route 7 going through Norwalk is meant to be an escape route if things ever get tough. That's not an escape route,
no,
right? Like that's a main artery of traffic and it's too thin. So I would say, hey, we're a cash positive state. We have a collection of states in a nearby area that suffer from similar problems. Instead of solving these as individual states with individual needs, let's bring those individual needs and wants together. Let's start doing joint task forces. Let's say, hey, we'll talk between the different state legislators and governors and whatnot. We'll talk with our congressional representatives for appropriations. We'll try and actually find an architectural modality that will work. And maybe this modality that I love for Connecticut does not work for New Jersey. That's okay. Their architect is going to fix that. And then we check all the boards. Bureaucratic? Sure, maybe. But then, 5, 6, 7 years, and then it's done. And then it's done for ever until you redo it. And then you're not talking about it for multiple generations and not doing the job as each thing gets worse. So I would argue that these cash positive states that give more to the government say, hey, listen, we've for X amount of years given you more tax dollars than we've gotten back.
we need it back.
We want to do a crew project. Maybe you subsidize it a little bit. Maybe you help out.
Mhm.
Zoran in probably his most brilliant political display so far. Not to glaze him. This just actually, I think, is tactfully probably one of the smartest political things I've ever seen. He basically went up to Governor Hochul and was like, listen, the previous mayor decided to leave me a deficit, like worked pretty hard at it. My team is brilliant, and we've cut the deficit by a massive margin. It is illegal for the mayor to not have a balanced budget.
Yeah.
I want to comply with the laws. I want you to consider granting one of the pieces of my agenda, which is to tax at a higher marginal rate, which actually mirrors another state, so it's not even that bad. The alternative is raising property taxes, which would be immensely unpopular for both of us.
Yeah, right.
Like, you're in bed with me now. Like, this is the kind of dynamic that we need to work on together. And I understand that I'm more of a democratic socialist and you're more of a centrist, and we both have different loyalties. But at the end of the day, it's about people. So it's in your court.
Mhm.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But that's what he should do. He said, listen, New York City's given a lot of money to the state. The cultures in New York State and New York City are very different. And I know because I love them both. And I love them because they're different. They benefit each other in different ways. I think that's a conversation worth having, right? New York State doesn't want to prop up New York City, and New York City doesn't want to prop up New York State. But if they can benefit each other, then that's beautiful. And then now maybe everybody's going to benefit if Hochul makes the right call.
Yeah,
So that's what I would do.
I agree. No, I agree the way he went about that part. Maybe I don't, me personally, I don't agree with him endorsing her so long, but that's just because I feel
Yeah.
like he should have waited to get that before he does
Yeah.
it. He's like, hey, listen, you signed that, and I endorse you right in that speech, right then and there. It's always wary. Like I'm always wary of trusting centrist politicians,
Yeah.
who very clearly show a disdain for not doing these things or always looking out for the rich. So,
Yeah.
but again, I mean, he's got a brilliant team, like you said. So maybe they're seeing a calculus that we're not seeing.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I believe in saying thank you. I just don't believe in saying please,
yeah,
because I've seen how that carrot gets dangled.
yeah,
Right?
right,
Like a
Mhm.
centrist is always going to be like, yeah, just keep giving.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
Right.
he's not going to do anything.
Right. It's just how
Yeah.
power, like and we've talked about this too. Is like the way sometimes Zoran acts is like, well, he's scared that he got elected into power by luck. No, you got elected and you have power now. You need to be able to wield that power. You
Mm.
you are the most favorable politician in the entire country, not even New York. I'm
Yeah.
literally talking about the country, right? Like so use it. And Trump over here got like just like 1 million votes more, and he's talking about a mandate. Dude,
Yeah.
Right.
you gotta go kill the game.
Yeah.
Like that's what you have to do. You can't be so scared. But
Well, I think a
sometimes,
part of it is he
you know,
feels a sense of duty for
yeah,
progressives everywhere else. I mean,
yeah,
it's unfair to him. And I'm right there with you. I would love to see him be a little bit more of a bat coming out of hell, right?
yeah.
But the reality is, I think he's worried that if he does anything wrong,
It's over
he
for
slips
everybody.
in the slightest degree, he'll
Yeah,
send the whole movement backwards, and he'll ruin. Like right
yeah,
now with the courage candidates and with Amanda Littman's run for something, and even with like Graham Plattner and AOC and Bernie doing the whole rally in red states, I think he's worried like, wow, on like a material visibility level, if I fail, I'm going to invalidate everybody else's
everybody.
work and we're going to lose
Yeah.
the country. I
And
feel
that's
like
a valid concern.
I think he cares enough that the world is on his shoulders, even if it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
I think that's part of why he's being so surgical,
yeah,
and maybe that'll bear fruit. I mean, it is the winter. Like New York comes alive. New York defrosts.
yeah.
So we'll see what he does in like July
Yeah, I
and
mean, I'm
June.
happy with what he's done so far
Yeah,
already.
me too.
But that's what makes New York City so special. I think one of our very first episodes that when we started this whole channel here, we talked about this. I was like, New York is a very special place in American politics. There's so many presidents that come like or maybe not even president, like so many national figures come from New York just being the mayor. I
Mhm.
mean like Rudy Giuliani and Blasio. Like there is and I've talked about this too with when Zoran was running before the elections. You can go anywhere on the planet where nobody speaks a lick of English, but you say New York, and they know exactly what that means.
Yep.
They don't there's no other state like this or
Yeah.
no other city in the world, not even in the
Yeah.
country. There's no other city in the world that is like it. For Zoran to be there and to do what he's been doing is great. I think it is excellent. And uh I'll kind of switch gears here too. Is the reason that's great is because I expect the Republicans to be evil. Like I expect them to do all the bad stuff they're going to do. I expect the MAGA to do, and I ask this to everybody too. Is what surprises me is the Democrats when they're so incompetent. But again, to a certain degree, that can be beneficial too. Is because candidates like yourself can go to people and be like, these people aren't for you, right?
Hmm.
Right. So it gives you this avenue to get in and to be
Yeah.
able to really talk to the people. But there are certain candidates that are going to be a fight. So let's talk about one of them,
Sure.
Gavin Newsom. If he is your if he is your presidential nominee from the Democratic ticket, how do you feel about him? And give us your thoughts on that.
Sure. I will give you the exact same thing I would say to him personally, which is people from California, because I have friends from there, actors, right? My girlfriend's from California, whatever, have told me you've had trans rights bills on your desk, housing rights bills on your desk, things that, I would probably try and take a look at immediately. right? Things that I would probably try and fast track. I would tell him, listen, you represent to me the false promise of neoliberalism. You present to me the false promise that, Obama didn't deliver or that Clinton didn't deliver. Basically, anybody outside of Jimmy Carter never really made work. So what I would tell him is this. As a congressional representative, anything I really want to happen has to go through your veto. And I'm going to want you over who's in office. I would want a dead cat over who's in office. That's not really a part of the conversation. But I would tell him, listen, the world of the Democratic Party is being torn between the AOCs and the Schumers.
Yep.
Whoever you are, whatever you represent, you already know I'm going to want a little more action from you. So if I'm knocking on your door, just be ready for that conversation. And then I can keep it cordial. If I know you're going to listen to me, I won't stage a hardcore show outside your office. But if you're not going to listen to the needs of the people, that's when I get a little bit more gregarious. So my fear with Gavin Newsom is that he will be, nothing changes if nothing changes. He might be similar to my incumbent or might be similar to some of the people I felt didn't deliver for us. But if he delivers, go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say I'm having a really hard time trusting that centrist Democrats can even change their mind. So I'm in South Carolina. I paid pretty close attention to, relatively close attention to like the North Carolina elections on Tuesday, and you probably heard of Fauci. She won by 1,000 votes. She managed to do that by denouncing AIPAC, even though she really didn't. She still got that money, and that sort of thing. So I'm just feeling like I feel like they're just saying what they need to say to be able to get or stay in office. I mean, because Newsom's starting to change his tone on Israel. He just had an interview where his message is totally different than what it has been. He's starting to express more, I guess, empathy towards Palestinians. It's like, I don't know, like, I guess we have to give them the benefit of the doubt if they're in office because we have to try to work with them, but it's just like, I feel so beaten down by them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess the writer in me could say the same thing in a bunch of different sentences. But I like the way you said it in that they're gonna do whatever it takes to win again.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably just meet Newsom in the middle and be like, listen, we probably don't agree. I don't trust you. You probably think I'm foolish. But if you want a term 2, you're going to deliver on a progressive agenda. And here are the stats. Here are the stats. Here are the bills I'm going to be advancing for the next 3 months. I'm not going to show you what I'm going to advance the next 6 because I want to have something in my pocket.
Yeah.
But if you deliver what people want, you're a hero. You want to win. But if you do the same playbook that has failed time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, be ready to be frustrated at the binary pendulum of the party system. I mean, I'm 32 years old. Some of these people in politics have as much time in politics as I've had on earth, and they still haven't figured it out. Right? Like it's kind of
not more.
So I would just level with them, and that would be that. I'll work with anybody who I think is going to help American citizens. I don't have to like you. I might disagree with you. I might be ready to protect other people from you at all times. I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. I would have probably been with her on the Epstein release, though.
Yeah.
I would have probably at least tried to sit with her and be like, hey, okay, we can talk from like 8 feet away. The acoustics in here are good.
Yeah.
Let's work on this bill because these do need to get released.
Yeah.
Right? Like on this issue, I don't trust you, but I trust the result.
I trust the policy that you're trying to go for.
If you want it. And if you want it for the wrong reasons, I can still judge you.
Yeah.
But if the thing is good for people, I want that to happen. I don't trust Gavin Newsom's reasons. I also haven't met him, so I'm just going by what I've read.
Yeah.
I don't really like what I've read.
Right.
But if he's gonna sign a Green New Deal, if he's gonna sign progressive things, I'll be very kind.
The reason I said Gavin Newsom, and Annette already knows this. I have a theory, um, and it is that Tucker Carlson will be the nominee from the Republican side.
I mean, it'd be a great time to pursue a career in stand-up comedy if that's the case. I mean,
The material writes itself.
but you know
Yeah.
what? I have a theory to your theory.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say that's the slate, right? That it's a Tucker Newsom thing. The
Think Newsom
only
loses.
reason why Newsom would win is because they tend to flip between Dem and Republican, right? Like
I think
that
he would
tends-
lose.
But on the merits, he would probably lose as a centrist Democrat versus a clowning Republican, because the clowning Republicans, like the facade of a leader, even though it's a play, it reflects a truth, right?
Yeah.
And then people look at that truth and they latch to it. I remember there was this guy, he had like a meat mask on or whatever, but he talked about kayfabe and he talked about like wrestling, who the current president is actually very close friends with the McMahons in Stanford when it was Trump Park Stanford. I try not to say his name as often as possible without surrender. They actually changed the name, but the McMahons bought a penthouse there. So they've been friends. They understand that theory of it's all a joke. We're going to buy into the performance. They're going to get so mad. We're going to have a hoot. Ha ha.
Yeah.
But people will buy into the truth of that performance more than to the lie. Kat, Zoran, myself, all of us have had, and most of the courage candidates have had people come up to us and be like, how do you be authentic? Like, but they don't say it of like, wow, I'm impressed. They say it as I want to come off as authentic as you without being it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know,
You just be it. You can't pretend to be it. It's just something you are.
I just rather be myself. And if you don't like me, that's cool. And if you don't find me useful to you, that's also cool. I'm just going to try and be useful to you.
Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? And you probably have heard of him, Abdul Syed in Michigan. I love the guy. He's so great. And he said something to the similar too. He's like, listen, you probably hate me. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but you could trust me that I'm going to be authentic about wanting to help you.
Yeah.
My thing is I want healthcare, and I want healthcare for you. You could be racist towards me. You could be Islamophobic towards me. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go get the healthcare for you, and you can trust that. You know,
I've said something similar to that. I had someone in August, and then I had someone in November. And in August, someone says, you know, it was my first time doing a town hall. They were like, why should I vote for you? And I was like, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe I'm not the candidate in your best interests.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, though. When I sit in that seat, I'm going to think about you and your kids and how I can make your life better. I'm not going to care if you voted for me. I'm not going to care if you were a Republican. I'm not going to care where you came from. If you're a life form, not even just a human being, a life form in my district, I want you to have that type of life. And he was like, okay.
Yeah.
And another
how do you
person,
argue that? You can't. You know, you can't argue that. Like,
that's my priority. Okay. And I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Tell me. Hold me accountable. Let me fix it. Right? Like, this is not an exact science, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The second person in November, you know, they were worried because Zoran had unequivocally won. And they're a wealthier citizen. And as you could tell from my, you know, neck of the woods, so to speak, there's definitely a type that would be scared about any word that comes out relative to socialism or just relative to a different status quo.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, listen, if you're going to lose me money, why should I vote for you? And I had to think about it because this is someone who, I think they were like an insurance adjuster. I don't remember their job, but they had a good living. They were doing their stuff. I looked at him and I said, listen, sure, your futures might not do so well, depending on what I choose to do. Your future will. You might not have the stocks go up and down right? Pensions go up and down. I'm not here to cater to the wealthy, but the value you're going to get out of me is in the material environment around you. Don't look at your bank account to see how I'm going to benefit you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how everyone around you is going to be happier, is going to be eating out more, so the economy's better. Like I want you to know your kids are going to be like, Dad, I want to go to the movie theater because everybody's going, and it's the hot place to be.
Right.
You know, Dad, I want to take that class because I want you to feel like the community is prospering. And I think that sometimes when we live in this like hyper individualistic mental prison, we forget that we're really connected to a community. And you spend a lot more money just retreating from that spiritual moment to a pragmatic one. You spend a lot more money when everyone around you is hurting because you have to propagate that system just for you to be all right. But if everyone around you is doing good, you don't need as much to be where you are. So that's what I told him. I was like, sure, maybe the first couple of months you actually are a little worried. Maybe your wealth manager keeps calling you and talks about how much he was able to protect.
Yeah.
But your kids will be able to afford to live near you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Your staff won't have as much turnover rate because they're happy to work with you and they take ownership over their job and they love working with you and they have health care. Right? Like this isn't just a pizza party. We're talking about like actual jobs possibly being actual families because everyone's material needs are met. Labor unions are good, laws are good, and you're still profiting.
Yeah.
There's a different kind of value system that I think we need. And I don't think that you can dream of that if what has worked for you.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is too, is like, as much as people like to say, this and that, like billionaires still use roads that aren't built by them. they're built
We're
by
a
the
society.
taxpayer.
Yeah, we're a
They like
society.
clean air, right?
We're all impacted by each other's lives, and we're impacted by policy. I always tell people who have a problem with like the paying taxes. I don't have kids; they don't go to school, whatever. But it's like yes, but you interact with people, and your experience of that is dependent on that person's education level. When you get your morning coffee, which I'm sure millionaires have to do that too. Stop in the morning. Do you want it to take 5 seconds because the barista can give you exact change in a few seconds, or do you want it to take 5 minutes because they can't? Basically, it's like we just have to have that value system of everybody has value in the system. So I'm just gonna flip it like that.
Yeah. I'm autistic, right? So sometimes I'm taking the train back at night from law school and I am done. I've worked, I've gone to law school. Now I'm commuting. I'm tired. My headphones don't, whatever. Like I'm sensorily, like I just want to be asleep. I'm so unhappy.
Yeah.
There's a couple teenagers coming back from like a Broadway show and they're loud. Do I want to have a meltdown? Sure. Am I mad that they're loud? Yes. Do I have needs? Certainly. But I also remember how loud I was, how important it is for kids and teenagers who are still kids to feel safe and to take up space.
Yep.
Actually participating in that society, even in the micro ways of being like, I'm just going to sit here, suffer, because this is the highlight of their week. They pooled their money and went to a show. And now they're coming back from the city and they probably, you don't know how much they have. I know how much it meant to me. I'd work for like 3 weeks and then go see a Broadway show in the winter when TKTS was cheap. And I'd be loud. We'd be talking about the show on the way back. That little bit of courtesy of just shutting the fuck up.
Right. And you're an actor, so if they had, you need those people to go to your shows, right? It's a circle. Like,
and sometimes these kids have good takes, and I'm like, should I write that down? Like 90% character, So it's like
great note.
Do I want to be caught behind a school bus? No, I'm already late for work, but you know what? I'm alive. I have my cup of coffee. I'm driving safe. The kids are going to get there safe. We live in a society. That can be a beautiful thing. It doesn't.
It's part of it.
we need to embrace these little inconveniences and look at them as
Yes.
these beautiful gifts we give to ourselves
Yeah.
and to the community to like enjoy the benefits of living in a beautiful society. We don't
No,
get the
So-
great city on a hill without building it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the wealthy or talking millionaires, I mean billionaires, yes, but I guess they can be a little more removed from us all. But the millionaires, or the not even at millionaires yet, who consider themselves to be future billionaires, like we're just taking like the smallest amount from you that you can handle, and
Like
it's gonna be okay.
like that thinking, and I'm sure we all recognize this a little bit, but like that thinking, like, oh, I'm just a future billionaire. We make fun of people all the time. Is
Yeah.
like when like there's, especially what's happening during Zoran, people will be in his comments or in somebody's comment when somebody criticized them. Well, no, like you can't. They provide so much jobs. They provide so much this and that, and like the first thing that comes to my mind is like, well, where's your factory key, brother? Like I need
Right.
show me the lease. Show me the lease to this factory that you're defending these billionaires so hard. And then the second thought is like, even if you are a millionaire, like the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is insane. And I saw this thing the other day, and it was like, if you counted 1 million second, it would take you to 2023.
Yeah.
If you counted 1 billion second, it would take you to the Roman Empire.
Yep.
Like that's the difference.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. When we talk about like eat the rich or tax the rich or whatever,
right.
I work for millionaires. They're some of the nicest, kindest people. They've come to my shows. They give money. They're giving their money away.
Yo.
They're a part of their community. They're not being bleeds. If you were saying that, maybe I could listen to you. But if you're just arbitrarily defending extractors, because you have this abstract idea that you're going to be an extractor, it's the people who make exorbitant amounts that hire wealth managers and lawyers to hide their money. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're new money or old money, if you're just a lawyer and you're making like less than a couple $1 million a year, the reality is with inflation, you're kind of not rich. You're just upper middle class. You're rich to me.
You're comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, to me.
It's a nice life.
Yeah, to me, you're doing great, but that's not even the law I'm going to practice.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it. Right? Like, so we have to really reanalyze how we look at wealth, not just by worship. Like, we shouldn't be worshiping it, but also our metrics are off. Like right now, to live the life Homer Simpson lives, which is supposed to be like a critique of, the nuclear family, you need to make like $240,000 or something crazy. Like,
who's making that? Teachers
yeah.
are.
I mean, he's got 3 kids. He's who can afford that?
Stay home wife. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not a couple, right? If you're just a single person, I think the poverty rate in my district is something crazy. Like if you make under $40,000 an hour or under $40 an hour, you're essentially in poverty.
Yeah, Fairfield.
It was 36. Now it's higher, because inflation. Wow. But like in theory, I could come out of law school, get a great first job, maybe with the city, maybe whatever, make 120 grand, right? But when you put it 100, put it against all my debts, I'm still just here. I'm just broke. I don't have an increased buying power. I'm not going to own a home here.
Right.
Maybe I can rent.
Yeah.
But that's not empowerment. That's still extraction. That just means that particular group is getting that money from me. Am I wealthy? No.
Yeah.
So we have to reanalyze a lot of that. And I think this district some people could really find a beautiful empowerment in their lives getting that mirror. And I think some of them have been getting it, and it's been really cool to see. But there's some millionaires here who are fantastic, and they get it, and they're all for it. And then there's old money. Yeah. And they are never going to get
money that changes nations. Like that should not exist.
And it's here.
Yeah, it's here. It's fast.
I've seen and worked on properties personally. Through the gardening and through the security. Like people whisper like I'm not there, and I've learned things, and There are individuals here that don't even need to pick up a phone. They don't have to call a friend. They're the friend. They can write a check and change scales. It's profound and a little horrifying.
It's very horrifying. You know what's funny too? At that level right now, we've seen there's so much polling coming out and so much studies coming out that wealth accumulation is happening at even at those level at a much smaller scale. So even smaller and smaller groups of people are getting richer. So like you said, millionaires aren't even seeing the impact of like the wealth growth anymore. Like they're becoming like millionaires are becoming middle class now.
Yeah, no, like that's what I was saying earlier. Being a millionaire doesn't mean anything. My father died and he will never be a millionaire. But even if he was, he would still be working class.
Yeah.
Period.
And you can already imagine what the actual middle class teachers, your average day workers, how they're living. You know what I mean? Like how they're experiencing life if millionaires are struggling. And then I'm talking just about like people that are working. And then you have like people that are disabled, elderly, like who just don't have even the option to be able to move up this ladder. And then we can provide for all this. Like this could be provided. It's not handouts. It's taking care of society.
And I've met millionaires who are not the ones I'm talking about that are middle class with us.
Yeah.
I've met millionaires who are up here and I've met quite a few billionaires. And I can tell you that when you just look at them, right? Like when you strip away actions and deeds and wealth and you're just in the room with a person, you're suffering just like us. They're humans just like us. And they have not gotten one iota of extra happiness or meaning or satisfaction.
Well,
maybe the next billion will do it. That's their thinking, though. You know, maybe the next billion.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. There's something broken in the psyche of somebody who needs to accumulate that much wealth at the expense, the known expense of everyone around them, their employees, their communities.
Well, and culture reinforces, right? Yeah. So it's like that shame is held. Right? How do we hold ourselves in our shame? Right? Like if I'm a little broke, if I'm a little short this week and we're all working class and I don't want to go to the bar because A, maybe I'm trying to cut down, but B, I just don't have $9 for a pint right now. Like times are a little tough. Yeah. We can hold each other in that shame because some people might be like, I get it. Like there's no pressure to come out, but come out. And then maybe you do get a round or two and I don't pay. We hold each other in our shame, and I've done that for others, and that is a cultural thing that we understand. We probably can't float each other rent, but my buddy Nick, I won't say his full name for security purposes, but my buddy Nick was very honest with me a couple of years ago. He was like, I want to pay for a couple of meals because I know you're not doing so hot, but I'm going to be a parent eventually, and just know that once I cross that line, you're doing it all. I was like, I could do that. That's a good deal, right? I'm gonna be the crazy uncle who showers your kids and with like prizes, and I'll pay for you and your wife's meals, and like that's just what we'll do. Yeah. So we hold each other in the struggle, but we can also hold each other in the shame and that downspout when we're taking a beating. And I think some of the wealthy cultures hold themselves in that shame by saying it's fine, just do more.
Yeah,
and they don't get better.
It's part of building that village, right? Like that's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get one question out there. We usually go till 9, but we're way past that, so we'll get it.
Yeah. Time check for you. Are you okay?
Are you okay with staying?
Yeah. What time is it?
It's 9:46.
Oh, I can talk. Yeah. I'm cool.
All the factors is a black hole. Time just kind of
just stops moving.
Unfortunately.
All right, for like 35 minutes for me. It's not bad at all.
It's not bad at all. You know what? Listen, everybody that comes on, they always go like, well, I didn't know I was going to go. I thought I was going to stay for an hour. And then it's like 4 hours later. They're like, oh, wow, okay, this wasn't that bad. We'll like do it again.
I feel bad for y'all because you have a good time. And then you're like, oh, do we cut this? Like, how do we advertise? Like now we have to do the editing room work. Like that must be a challenge.
Well, that's Annette's job, so I don't feel as bad about it.
You're a godsend in that.
No,
That's a hard
we'll
job.
usually like we'll post it. Yeah, it's rough. I can't do it.
I
But we'll
mean,
use
I'm not. It's I work full time too, so I'm not as on top of it as I should be. But it'll get on YouTube, So
we'll be on there. There will be some TikToks about it for sure.
yes.
Okay, well let's try to put some of this. We've been talking for a while about like just how you feel about what things we want to do, and how things we wish we would like to shape and be. So let's maybe try to put that into a little bit more concrete. Day one, you're in office, you won, and you're representing a District 4 from Connecticut. You're Congressman Caputo, Perez Caputo. What's the first bill you introduce on day one? What is your number one priority? What are you trying to get on the table for your district?
Okay. It's going to be 3.
Okay.
Right.
Better than 1. We'll take it.
Yeah. It's 8 hours in a day. We lock in and clock in the working class.
There you go.
I'm getting
your
more
team
done.
is working overtime, right?
Mm-hmm. All 3 of them are probably going to be shut down, killed on the floor, but I'm going to advance them. I'm going to tell my district I advance them. The first is probably going to be some kind of either resurrection bill where I take an old bill and I say, hey, I want to re-advance this, or I'm just going to redraft it. The first thing I'm going to do is a universal health care bill.
Okay.
My father would be alive if we had universal health care. I consider my father's death a social murder. He died of a preventable heart attack 7 miles from a hospital. Period. Okay. So I would advance. Thank you. So I would advance a universal health care bill, probably one that is tangible and large and allows for the states to add and can help empower the rural areas. So that's nationally and local, right? Nationally, Article 9, impeachment, probably a couple articles stacked on top of each other. I'm coming for y'all. Like there's some people who need to be made answerable. That'll probably fail. But the other one, and this is somewhat national local, and I kind of can't wait for this bill to fail because I want to see who's going to vote no. It's sort of like a chicken, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to advance a bill that's more or less 2 sentences once you edit out the fact that you need terms defined and things of that nature that make bills lengthier. And basically the bill is all congressional representatives will take on the minimum wage of the district of which they represent.
I like that one. I like that one.
That's a good one.
The savings of which will go to benefit their district in a way as legislated by their, state legislatures or, of that nature. And then I would separate some of the campaign finance, and some of the campaign finance would actually now have to cover some of their travel. So even if you raise a ton of money, you need to actually be smart about how you do it and think about it.
One pushback though, wouldn't that almost guarantee that only the wealthy are in Congress?
What that would do is it would ensure that those who are in Congress would try and raise the minimum wage. Because think about it. If it's the minimum wage of my district, and I'm used to living like this all the time, and these wealthy people are in Congress, I'm living off this anyway. I might as well do their job. So you're going to get more pushback from primary challengers as well. And no one's going to vote that in, but it's going to let every district know who cares about your material needs and who's in it for the seat. I stand to benefit. I'll be very real here. I make less than 40 grand a year right now running for Congress. I could make up to 60 if I just worked full time, right? But I work 2 part-time jobs. I'm pretty sure the math shakes out that if I win, I will make more in the 2 years of one term than I have my entire adult working life. I would also be happy if that bill passed. I'll do this job for minimum wage. I'm here for the district. This isn't supposed to feel great. It's supposed to hurt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Would you take away the health care too?
Not from the district or the nation, but I would
from the representatives.
Yeah, I would consider any kind of benefit at risk. Yeah.
Okay.
That would probably be another section of the bill that I haven't thought of yet. But that would definitely, you shouldn't be able to benefit from this job. So this is going to get in the weeds a little bit, but another bill I would like, and multiple congressional representatives have advanced things like this. But I would want to do a bill that, bans stock trading, bans certain estates and trusts, at least for the time in which you are a public servant. Like while you're a public servant, you become a different asset class entirely. You're not allowed to benefit. So no paid speaking gigs, no book deal until like 1 or 2 years after you're done in public service. Right. I think it's probably a bad political move, but I'll do it anyway. I think Cory Booker made that book stand. Right, Senator Booker, he broke the 24-hour.
Oh,
the
the speech.
Yeah, and then the next week his book was ready.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so was it about the people?
Yep.
Or what's going on? So no book deal. You shouldn't gain money or benefit financially from doing this job outside of the salary of the job. So when that first one fails, I just want to go to everyone's district and be like, cool, let's make sure this second one passes. Right. And really start getting into the weeds about how to empower local governments through legislation on a federal level. Right. Because that's all Congress is supposed to be. It's supposed to really guide the local governments through ideas. And then the local governments really do the work, the real work. The real leading of the country happens with us. Our neighbors, our kitchen tables, our teachers, right? Like we do that. Having a hand on the paddle of the boat really only does so much when it's supposed to be everybody. So those would be my 3/4 that I would throw in first day. For sure.
Like
Thank you. They need some retooling. I'm certainly not ready to present them.
Right.
But the drafts are all right.
No, right. I'm sure, when the bills are being written, they have to be a lot more nuanced and and expensive and well researched. Of course, that's just a part of it. And to even get it to the floor, that's already a tough job in itself.
There's procedures.
Getting to committee and anything. I'm sure that'll never see the light of day. Okay, maybe a little bit of personal question. So you're running as an independent, which is, different than I'm sure a lot of other candidates.
Yeah.
So this might be I guess I can ask them separately. How do you plan on, what's your plan to coalition build? I know you're part of Courage Candidates, but what if all of them don't get in there? How do you'll be essentially an outsider. I mean, Bernie's kind of made it work a little bit for himself as, always being independent. Massey's kind of made it work for himself. How do you kind of plan on following their route? Do you plan to carve out your own coalition like the squad kind of did? Where do you see this going?
A little bit of everything, right? Because my status as an independent is also intriguing, right? Our district has, I think, almost 40% are registered independents. We have a lot of people who've lost faith in both parties. I think everyone's really angry at the two-party system. I don't believe in parties. I believe it should be ideas of merit and conversations. But I get it that people want mathematical blocks, so they do it. If I succeed in petitioning and getting onto the ballot, and then I go onto the primary and I win the primary, I'm really no longer a Democrat, no longer an independent. I would have won the Democratic primary. Yeah. Right. And a part of that is a strategy. I do feel like our district deserves to have primaries. I do believe that every public servant should get that performance review. Iron sharpens iron. You only stand to become better at your job if you win your primary again. Right. So you should have diverse challengers all the time. I think that's great. I hope if I win, I get 5 people primarying me because I think that's fantastic. Yeah. It's just going to make me better, or you're going to get a better person coming in. But for the coalition building, I think it would be important to it's very important to compromise only in compromising only in time, but not in ideals. Like I will work a little harder or less hard. I will back off. I will press forward, but I'm not going to change my morality.
Okay.
Right? Like if someone says, "Listen, Joseph, this is a Republican bill. We are the Washington bloc. We want to beat it." And I look at it and it's actually like really solid and possibly a good thing. I realize we're stretching it here, but like I'm gonna say, listen, this idea does look like it's a good thing. Can we talk about this? Because I'm not doing what you tell me. I'm doing what I think is right, and if that makes me a wild card, fine, right? But that's the independent side. The Democratic side of me leans way farther left than anyone in Congress right now.
Yeah.
My district doesn't, so some of that would be tempered. It's not about me.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're dragging the Overton window at least to the left.
That's the reality. Like,
yeah.
Like
governance is always different than campaigning, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't expect the Marxist-Leninist revolution to come out of Fairfield. You know what I mean? Like,
and frankly, if it did, it would be tainted and it would be wrong. Like we would need our own thing that solves our own
going on out there.
Yeah, we can't just graft other things, and we have to really think about that transplant, right? Like he who transplants sustains. Like the transplant is an art, and it has to be done the right way.
Yeah.
So I would coalition. I think the first thing I would do is I would go up to the Progressive Squad out of the gate and be like, listen, I'm new. Heim's only co-sponsored like one or two of your bills. I'm going to co-sponsor way more.
Yeah.
Take me on as a Padawan learner, but know that I'm not just going to do marching orders.
Yeah.
I want to learn the way. I want to learn what's going on, but as I've said, like I'm going to do what's best for the district and the country. If you tell me, Joe, we really like you, but you need to stop pursuing impeachment every day, I'm going to be like, I get it, man. They need to stop being criminals so I can stop doing this, right? Like they need to stop breaking the law and pissing on the Constitution so I can stop doing Title IX actions and trying to get these things to go forward. So I'm just going to be very real about it. And sometimes people get mad when you're transparent because I think you're predictable, but that just means they're looking where they're looking.
Yeah.
Right. And that gives me a chance to also be home in my district doing really good work. That gives me a chance to be very efficient. I'm not going to DC for DC.
Yeah.
Going to DC for country and for, county, for the district. I think people get lost in DC politics.
Yeah. The analysts get in your head and you completely forget what you represent. So I guess that's a kind of a perfect segue. Has anybody tried to talk you out of running? And you don't have to mention names or anything like that. How did that conversation go? What did you say? What did they say? And were you able to change their mind, or you were just like, hey, I think we just got to go our separate ways?
Well, I mean, some of that's been family. This area is divided. Propaganda works. Some people only watch one news channel, and even though you and I could probably think of two that
Fox News.
Yep, which is a terrorist organization, but all of them are bad.
Yeah.
All of them have their flaws, and a lot of good journalists get burnt out. Like even if you're a good person, you join a police department. Even if it's a good police department, you're going to deal with pain and trauma and moral burnout and all the things that are going to happen. You got to now start squaring with some things, right? So I think that the best way to describe it is that people find comfort where they can, and they forget comfort for that. People would rather lose their life than their lifestyle. People would rather lose their loved ones than their lifeline. So I've had some people try and talk me out of it simply out of love for me. Like, yo, you're a law student. You worked hard to get here. You built your life back after a protest. Like, just stay zeroed in. If the world blows up, then you can't do anything anyway. Just focus and like do that and be selfish.
Yeah.
Which is great advice. And I've listened to a degree, and I do put school first in a lot of ways. I make sure all my readings get done, and then I film content. and then I make my calls and build coalition and try and meet with the community. And it's hard. I'm tired.
Yeah, it's a lot. It sounds like a long day.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And but I've also had family members who they are just comforted by Kirk. And they're comforted by, you know, the president, and they're comforted by Hannity and that catharsis of like, I'm mad because the news got me mad. Like, that's comforting.
Yeah.
And even if I explain things calmly, I'm a threat. So some people have tried to talk me out of things. Most people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You would. And they're like generally supportive. They're not going to put their neck on the line, nor should they.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you would. I've had a few people kind of be like, Joe, I'm materially worried for your safety and for your life. And, you know, as a lifelong martial artist, I'm like, okay, let's talk about the realities of that on a like a chill, pragmatic level. And like, we're just casually talking about ways I could come to harm and how to prevent it. And we're acting like nothing's wrong. So there've been a lot of different kinds of conversations. They've been extremely varied for different purposes. And there are some people who aren't talking to me anymore, and I miss them. You know, and I keep my door open.
But that's a choice they're kind of making, you know.
Choice they make themselves. You know, and it just is what it is. You know.
Yeah. At the end of it, you gotta hold to your principles.
But that's the thing. If I let that stop me, I wouldn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I'm willing to give up on what I think my community needs just because some friends or some family or whatever don't get it, or right. Like resolving these tensions is also part of the job.
Yeah.
Right. That is part of the job. So it's been a difficult time, but now I'm getting to the point where I haven't given up, and people are seeing I'm bullheaded, and people are coming around, and some things are coming to an amends, and that's really nice. And, you know, people who are like, yeah, good luck, are now like, hey, how can I help? I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Boy, do I have some jobs for you. So it's been a process. It's a living, breathing, moving thing. But yeah, I've gotten multiple different kinds of like, don't do this conversations.
I can see it being hard for family to accept that little level of you know, scrutiny on their loved one.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's the scrutiny is tough, especially if you don't have agency to speak back. And I think that there's a fear of not having either the opportunity to provide an honest and earnest narrative, or the opportunity to provide that and have it sustained before it's just ripped apart by, you know, the piranhas of public perception. You know, every single news agency is going to have a slightly different bias. And then the psychometrics of online social media. If I see something I agree with on TikTok, it's going to look differently than how I see it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. What ad did I see just before that? How is it presented to me? So, you know, that's a big part of the equation too, is this fear of loss of control. I think people are hunting for any level of safety in an unsafe world. And taking the power in your hands feels unsafe, even if it actually might increase your safety and well-being.
Yeah. You know, I speaking to the bullheadedness of it, we've talked about this a lot, especially during when Bad Bunny was performing the Super Bowl. Just believing in hope, or believing in like doing better or wanting better for other people, and like truly believing in that is infectious, you know. And then especially in the face of like, well, he just wants good for me and I'm trying to fight him. Eventually people start to go like, you know what, like he's saying the right thing, why can't we try it? You know what I mean? Why can't we do it? Like, he's going for it, let me just he's still going for it. It's like the, you know, the scene from Captain America where he's like getting beat down when he's a little guy and he keeps getting up. He's like, I could do this all day. When they see that, people like can relate to a lot of that, you know. And there is none of that comes from the right side of the spectrum. So even those people that may not believe in you now, but when they see you continuously going out there doing it over and over and over and over and over again, they come around. They go like, okay, well, you know what? Like, there's only so much you can. The reason I mentioned Bad Bunny is like, speak Spanish. My wife's Spanish, but I don't speak it. I don't understand it, but I listen to it all the time, right? It's because it's infectious. It's because
Yeah.
it's hopeful. It's because it's fun. Like that feeling translates even when you don't understand the language. And if you're only ever talking about fear mongering and all that,
Hmm.
that you can only do so much of that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well, and what's that old expression? Like, if you feel bad, plant a tree,
Yeah,
right? Like, we can, and this probably gets a little more into psychology and sociology than politics, but we can transmute our, we can alchemize our emotions. We can do that in an individualistic microcosmic scale. We can do that in a social macrocosmic scale. I could feel terrible right now. Go put on some music, thrash around a little bit, dance, get it in the body. There's a ton of science on why that works. But I have to be willing to like be a little kooky for a second and just let myself do that.
mm,
Um, and that infectiousness, right? Like Spanish music in general. I will say that like music from the Hispanic and Latinx communities, they're all so different.
yeah,
One of the biggest things, the trope that you'll find with a lot of that music is they'll talk about the saddest, scariest, most heartbreaking, like oppression, and I lost the love of my life, and
yeah,
you're just partying and you're dancing and it's fun.
yes,
And there's
yes,
this triumph to it,
yeah, yeah.
right? There's
I
this
agree.
feeling of overcoming, and that's what we're called to do is overcome fear.
Yeah,
Why should I trust you? I
yeah,
say, recoiling as we slowly talk and we become family,
yeah,
right? And earn it,
yeah.
right? For real. That's the
Um, we can. I know it's getting pretty late, so I don't know if you have any more questions on that. I can ask our last one too.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So again, sticking with a personal theme, what's a political opinion you hold that will cost you votes, but you believe it anyways?
okay. This has been asked to me before
Okay. I
by
well. Oh,
friends,
okay. All right.
like privately,
Okay.
and I've had different answers, but now I don't remember them, and I'm
Okay.
frustrated because I want to give you one
Off the top, whatever
off,
whatever the first thing that came up your mind.
off the top.
Yeah. You don't even have to give an explanation.
One policy that I'll lose voters for.
Yeah, you think will cost you votes, but you're gonna hold on to that policy anyways, no matter what. If you don't like it, we can go to different questions too.
No, I love it. It's just now I'm in my head because I want to give you like the right answer, and I know I've like had a good answer on this, but I can't remember any of them. I mean, I don't know. I'm unhinged and I'm a mess,
Yeah.
and I'm from musical theater and I'm from punk and metal communities, so I'm gonna say something that's gonna lose me voters. I'm just trying to say it now.
Yeah. Get it out of the
I,
way.
you know what it is? I think maybe one of the best philosophers of our time, some of the best philosophers of our time, come from the arts, right? Carlin, Pryor, and Lampanelli, people who maybe you don't see as highbrow. But Shakespeare wasn't highbrow in his day. Shakespeare was
Mm,
South Park,
mm,
Right.
right? And so I think that maybe something that would lose me voters is that I'm just not going to be willing to gussy up. I'm not going to wear the black tie, white glove thing when it comes to art and be foo foo. Even if someone is strange, you know, that's a beautiful thing. So I think that might cost me voters because some of Connecticut's very buttoned up,
yeah.
and I'll say
You gotta
that.
think of it from the Connecticut perspective. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the Connecticut perspective, people are always worried about like holding it together and
Yeah.
scream into the void a little bit. You'll be
Yeah.
happier.
Actually, I lied. That wasn't going to be the last question. I have one more, and it was one of the most important ones that I wanted to ask during our nationalization conversation. So, Shurkat Chakraborty, he's running for Nancy Pelosi's seat. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Mhm.
Who is a Senta millionaire. So I've been kind of he's Indian, so I kind of keep track of all the national names that kind of pop up. Majority of them end up being right wing, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But he's one of the good ones that I really like his policies. one of the policies that he has, and I believe this too, which is kind of why he got on my radar to begin with, is there will be some sort of major incident that'll probably happen. That's what I think with the way AI is going, whether it's something like the 2008 financial crisis. We are certainly in an AI bubble. That
Yeah.
all the research coming out of
Oh, yeah.
Harvard, all these educational institutions, and even AI themselves, they're flat out saying it. Sam Altman was at an interview. He was like, "Yeah, we'll get bailed by the United States government." He proposes, so Chakraborty is proposing that if that does indeed happen, that the United States Congress and the United States government takes over AI, like the whole production, and that they run it themselves, and then they turn it into a public good. If that does come and he does win and he does propose this, is this something you yourself see supporting?
As stated, right? Like hearing it from you, not being able to read any of his writing.
Yeah.
I have support for it, but concerns.
Okay.
My big concern would be who manages it. If
Okay.
it becomes, like, for example, the DOJ is supposed to be an independent, impartial, beautiful institution, and
Right.
currently
They're putting up Trump's banners. Right.
Right. So, like,
Yep.
I want to make sure that that's not compromised. But
Yep.
I'm also the kind of person, if AI becomes true life and true consciousness, it has civil rights. It's a life form.
Okay.
So, like, I'm with it in that direction.
Well, let me throw a curveball your way then. What if it's something like the FCC or FTC? It's sort of part of the executive branch, however,
Yeah.
it's mandated and given rights by the U.S. Congress.
Well, that's actually kind of where my holdout is. I'm curious as to, I'm in an administration law class right now, and I'm
Okay.
wondering whether the administrative agency blanket would even be the right place of management for it. So my issue isn't a lack of support for it. I actually really like this idea. My only curiosity would be like, who's going to be responsible? Not who's going to pay for it. Who's going to be liable, right? Are you going to give it to like a council of courts? Because at least the judiciary will take their sweet time, right? They're not going to run away with the ball and become Nazis, right? Yeah. Ideally, you give it to the Supreme Court, maybe not. But, if it's an administrative agency, how do we keep it accountable? Right?
Okay.
Is it something that stays under the executive branch, or is this an administrative agency that maybe we rethink how administrative agencies are done? Because AI has the chance to be a lot more potent and widespreading than any other kind of management, right? So yeah, I could definitely support it for sure. Okay. I just want to talk about it. Yeah, like I want to be like, oh yeah, let's talk. Like, how do we do this structurally? Like, who would do it?
Yeah,
that would be my big concern. Or is it like, do the states manage it in like a cooperative, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it?
I mean, that certainly would be nice too, if like it was part of like the entire. If it got structured in a way that it's states and federal government both were able to form an agency together with a board of 51 or something like that, however that works out. Yeah, with equal say and equal pay, but as it's used as a completely public good. I think that'd be interesting for sure. Where I was leaning was maybe it goes towards something like the FTC or the FCC, where its powers are given by Congress, used by the executive, however, maybe managed by the judiciary, with like now Chevron being overturned and everything like that, where courts have heavily involved in it. Maybe that layer of structure kind of goes into it. But I think I don't think AI is good in the hands of the billionaires personally. So
no, I think one of the worst systems we could have for AI is the one we have.
Yeah,
I mean, it really doesn't get worse, because now you have a bunch of private conglomerates who are all friends with the executive. So it's worse than if it was just owned by the government, because they're shielded by laws. So it's only an improvement, but I'm always going to try and push it a little to the next better improvement. And some things come with structure, right? Like maybe we do it this way and then we learn from it. And in 2-3 years we go, cool, now we know how to make it better, and we change it. But I'm on board. I would just want to talk about it because the legal system's in chaos.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, 100%. Check on your friendly neighborhood law professor. Everybody I know is teaching me stuff and saying, here's how it should work.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where I'm coming in. Like I'm approaching this like everything's broken. We need a top to bottom reconstruction, revolution via laws, not electoralism,
Yeah.
right? Not revolution via voting. I mean, we need a complete top down change in these like histrionic racist laws we have and the ways they serve capital, and just a complete change to the benefit of the human race. I'm about to go into a jurisprudential thing, but I support it from that stance of this could be very human life affirming.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's organized well.
No, I
laws are almost
agree, and I really liked your take with the antitrust thing. I think that for sure
Yeah.
needs to happen. There's too much consolidation happening in
And it's an
every
ecosystem.
aspects.
One hand washes the other. Maybe if the antitrust thing happened and this happened and this happened, and then he advances that bill, I'm like, yep, cool, carte blanche. I have no notes. 10 out of 10.
Right.
Great.
Done.
Because the whole ecosystem's sustaining it. It's ready for it. We have the environment for it. I don't throw a fish onto a parking lot, right? Like, I'm not calling his bill a fish, but
No,
I want the ecosystem to make sense for his bill so it would succeed.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's talked about it in a fair bit of detail in the interview that I was watching. But I'm sure it's just a bit of it was like it was like a 5-minute talking point. It's not exactly a bill ready to go. But I think that idea of like, hey, I think people would really get behind something like this because why is it socialism when for corporations, but like capitalism for people, if capitalism for us, right? Like if you failed, good, you tried it, it didn't work, you failed, we'll take it over and we'll make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's nice to see some solutions proposed or potential solutions.
Because I'm also tired of that. I remember high school with the bailouts in 2008. What do you mean too big to fail? You failed. This is capitalism. You failed.
That's it.
Free market, right? The free market,
you can't have both.
apply to it.
Don't spin the house on blackjack, son. You tried. Sorry. Right? It's socialism for them, but not for we.
Exactly.
So
I think campaigns that have like clear cut things that people can like, hey, that's a good idea. It's a simple, like he doesn't have to necessarily explain it. He can connect it to what's already happened, and we know what is already being built, and it's already coming down the way. When people hear something like that, they go, oh yeah, like that's nice, okay, that makes sense, let's do that. It sticks in people's minds. I think of it as the Zoran method, and if Kamala Harris would have applied this method where like she had 5-6 policies where as soon as you hear Kamala Harris, you could list off those policies as you could with Zoran, with free buses, free grocery stores, and free childcare and tax the rich. Like she couldn't have failed.
Yeah.
Or that, and just don't support genocide. Like that would have mopped it up for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, her two big points that I think that held her back were, the genocide, and then people started looking into her history as a judge. And of course, it wasn't people who were fair and legal minded. It was like Fox News finding every little tangent that they could sway. So there was a racism component for sure.
Absolutely.
I also think she showed up ready to win, and I think $1 billion on a 107-day campaign.
Yeah.
Give me $1 billion in 107 days, and I will change this country. Right? Like
exactly.
People are going to be happy. I'm going to cut a swath through the north and south and west, and the work class can be great. Just give me 107 days and $1 billion. A fraction of what Musk has. I'll change the world.
Right. Oh, that exactly. That is a world-changing money. That is like a literally aircraft carrier strike group just moving in every single direction. You could do that with that much amount of money, So it's ridiculous that she. And then you try to talk to the well, we keep going, and we're supposed to end like 4 minutes ago. But anyways, I'm already getting hungry again. Anyways, but that we'll end it there. Is when you have that much money and then you just show up not prepared to do the job, it shows.
Yeah.
It just shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I don't think there's any questions. I think we're good.
Is there any do you want me to share your website with the chat? Is there any other media or anything that you'd like me to share? I'll definitely put it in the description of this video and everything. But
thank you. Yes, please. My I use all my links, and that sends everybody to everything. So that link can go in there.
I'll go ahead.
Probably going to change a handle or two soon to just make it easier because my handle is phonetic, but not the easiest to write. So I may try and also shorten a few things, but I appreciate you having me on.
No,
This is a great conversation, and I sometimes feel bad that I don't have everything super polished, but I also like it because I'm not like an engineered.
Yeah.
Tailor-made,
just put it in front of people. Like, here you go. This is our guy. Yeah.
I have no interest in being a cookie cutter, but
yeah.
There are large issues at play, and some things can't be packaged in a little sexy thing.
Yeah.
You can't just like make it a sound bit. Some things really, they're ecosystems. It's the closest I can get to it.
Yeah.
I think we're all getting tired of just listening to candidates and politicians get their 5 to 15 minutes where they say exactly what they want to say, and it's never questioned or pushed or anything like that. So
I prefer this a lot. I prefer being in the hot seat that everyone chooses to avoid and just having fun. This is way better.
There you go.
Not to put you in the spot, and you can certainly say no to this. Would you like to come back on again? Maybe I know you're busy. Again, I know you're crazy busy. So
let me tell you both right now. The problem is me, right? But obviously, all our schedules permitting, this has been a good time.
Yeah,
I appreciate you both. I appreciate you pressing when you needed to, and not being nice and asking the good questions. I also appreciate you just being really, really cool and really nice all the other times as well. And I like that.
There's a reasoning behind that, though. So when we had Andrew on and, when we ended all the stream, and I had so many times there'd be questions that I wanted to ask for his follow-up answers, but I didn't want to come off as like, oh, we were being hostile toward him or anything like that.
Yeah.
So afterwards, we like talked for like 30, 40 minutes, like after the show. And then he was like, and I was like, I wanted to push back, but I didn't want to see how hostile. But he's like, well, you have to, because again, if you did push back and I had a good answer, that's good for me. You know, like, so.
No, Andrew's real deal.
We tried that. Oh yeah.
Andrew's real deal. I watched him on the February 17th. I came to his office. Hit Rosa DeLauro's was 9 a.m. and Jim's was noon. So I went to his and he went to mine. He's a real deal. He was saying stuff at both.
Yeah.
Like you could press him, and he's the real deal. He's a good guy. He really cares.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. I'd rather that. That's the debt. If we're going to talk about a debt, if we're going to use cost-benefit analysis, I want someone who's just indebted, who just loves their people, and like you cannot sever them from that. Like that's enough said, right? Like that's it. Like you need to love them. They're all your kids. They're all your brothers. They're all your sisters. They're all your elders and mothers. If you don't love them, I know it's cheesy, but get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Go retire.
Yeah. 100%. Especially Rosa DeLauro, like her 19th term.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're done.
Years, like.
And I'll admit, I actually didn't know as much about some of her FEC ties until my own election, right? And I knew about Jim, but Rosa's profiting on a lot of ice and a lot of like anytime any of these the kind of anything violent happens, she's in bed with a lot of these companies, and so she makes bank. So
It's a shame.
One last thing, do you know who clavicular is?
Oh my god, why do you ask everybody that?
That does.
You do not know?
That sounds familiar, but I can't name anything, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Now we're gonna get into the whole look thing. Manosphere,
we're not gonna get into
whatever.
it. We're not gonna get into it, but I suggest you go look up who clavicular is. Andrew knows about clavicular. We talked about it, and it is scary a little bit.
Oh, so it's not a band?
No, not a band.
I thought you were turning me on to like a new scene.
No,
it's a person.
Name,
but you know about Looks Maxing?
Oh, I've heard about that.
Okay, well, then you are familiar with clavicular.
Oh, so that's the genesis of that whole thread of being.
Yeah. Definitely go look into it. The only reason I say that is it's very popular with the younger generation, and you have University of Fairfield right there, but
Yeah.
so you something to uh, make a fun of and joke out of, because it's a
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
whole
want to
meme
connect with the
culture
youth.
thing going on. Connect
Fair.
with the youth. Use clavicular.
Fair.
Anyways, thank you for coming
No,
on. Really,
thank you
Yes.
all.
honestly, thank you. Appreciate it. Really.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much
it
for coming
too.
on and spending 3.5 hours of your
3.5 hours
life
with
with
us.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We totally appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry, you could have watched, one of the extended editions in the same amount of time. You could have been watching Fellowship of the Ring,
Oh,
right?
one of my favorite movies. That is
Great.
my favorite movie of all times.
It's unbelievable to me how much growing up I didn't realize that was going to be a huge aspect of like my political philosophy, right? And I don't like kings, so like take the like kingliness stuff out of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just like the emphasis of kindness and like, okay, all hope is gone, but we're going to do the job to the bitter end because we owe it to the people we love.
You know,
Right? Like we
if
need more.
I known this, we would have talked all 3 hours just about Lord of the Rings.
You
Just
already
Next
Lord of
time you
the
invited me
come on,
back.
Rings.
I got a
we're going
sword
to.
right there.
That'll be the
I'll
when
come
you
in.
My
come
wedding-
back.
My wedding ring is the One Ring.
Is it really?
Yes, I don't wear it because I just wear this rubber one, just but it literally has the inscription on there, and it's
That's
the One
pretty
Ring. Yeah,
Yeah,
Extremely nerdy.
we need Lord of the Rings candidates because we've lived in Dune.
yeah,
Is the like violently oversimplified version of a much longer conversation.
yeah.
But we're used to
Sauron is
these Dune
intolerant.
politicians, and we need more Lord of the Rings public servants.
Yeah,
There is definitely a connection between being like really nerdy, for lack of a better word, and being like a super leftist. I have found the stories are the same.
I mean,
I've noticed
nerdy is Palantir. It's literally from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's literally
Well,
from
you're
there.
right. You're right. I guess
Yeah.
it has universal appeal, but they
And
obviously didn't get the message of these stories.
No,
They did. Well, I counter argued that the other day is that I think they did get the message. I think it's like their insult to injury, because when Lord Denethor looks into his Palantir, right? I've heard people online talk about, oh, it's like Fox News brain rot. Like he's in a one-on-one connect to Sauron.
Yeah.
So he goes from being like a pretty decent fellow who cares about people to just complete psychotic madness. So I think Palantir is actually intentional. I think they're giving us a declarative statement because they want to
Just
rub it in our
extremely
faces.
self-aware. Love
I
that.
think they want to rub it in our faces. I do think it's insulting the dead.
Crazy.
It's like insulting the injured. I think
That's
they're doing that as like
evil,
malice,
evil.
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. So I guess we'll we'll end it at Lord Denethor and Palantir here.
Yeah.
Again,
It was
Yeah,
a good Italian goodbye.
but we'll definitely keep in touch, and when you're ramping up before the primary, please reach out. I would love to be there. I told Andrew that I would come by and do anything I can. She's all the way in South Carolina, so she can't help us, but
That's fair.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm your on the ground infantryman. I'm there.
Thank
Just
you.
let me know when, and I'll be there.
Your Hartford area or Manchester area?
Yeah, I'm in
Right,
Manchester.
that's not too bad.
No,
Yeah.
I'll go to Fairfield any day. That's not a problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah. No bad
so-
commutes in Connecticut.
Yeah. No, 2 hour any direction, you're out of the state. That's not a big
Well,
deal.
That's another. We'll save that point for next time because I think that's one of the great benefits of Connecticut when there's no traffic is you're always in another world every 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
I
an
do miss that.
accessibility there. That's really cool.
All right. Well,
Alrighty,
you have a great night. All right.
let's say goodbye to the stream. So
Yeah.
good night, people. Thank you for joining
Take it
us.
easy.
Thank you.